and he was like 95. And he kept predicting a wrong date. And he was like, oh, I actually did my math wrong. I forgot this one passage about 73 fishes. I have to add that onto the top. And then you actually have to add like another 10 years just like to make sure. So it's like, honestly, it'll probably be like around here, not this date. It's going to be another like month or two after. Harold Camping. Yeah, he would randomly start adding numbers. Just out of like, he would be like, well, this passage has the number 83 in it.
Because you're delusional. Because they believe it, and then they're like, oh, it was probably a mix-up. You put your whole belief system in that. It's really quite sad, Nick. During one event, William was egged by an audience member during one of his speeches, and I bet that insane.
He was egged by like a 15-year-old.
Him over the edge. In the span of just a few years, people prepared for this event by selling most of their belongings and turning their...
Oh, wait, no, this is... Oh, my God, no. He was egged in the 1800s. This is just a video of a guy getting egged by a 15-year-old.
By an audience member during one of his speeches.
What the hell am I thinking?
And I bet that sent him over the edge. In the span of just a few years, people prepared for this event by selling most of their belongings and turning their backs on their responsibilities. By March 21st,
Why are they selling shit, though? Like, what is the point of selling shit? You have to have a shred of doubt if you're selling it. Like, just give it away.
1844, nothing had happened. The date would be moved to April 18th, only for it to fail once more. The last date proposed by William was October 22nd. On the day of, tons of people still believed in William. They put on their white ascension robes and climbed to the highest places available to them to await the second coming. Not only did this prove to be fruitless, but it led to a period known as the Great Disappointment, where people wept endlessly over their hopes being shattered alongside a...
I need somebody to help me up to my chamber as my natural strength was leaving me very fast, and I lay prostrate for 2 days without any pain, sick with disappointment.
Wave of mockery from people asking, why haven't you ascended yet? First off, as soon as if William came in, if William the dog came in trying to eat his own face and handing out white robes, I'd be like, you gotta get out of this motherfucker.
Why? Robes are fancy.
Robes are cool, but if it's in religious context, robes are not cool. Yeah, we're just gonna put on these robes and go to the mountain. I'd be like, might have picked the wrong batch, is what I'd say.
You're like full leaning into it, and they're like, all right, guys, let's get in our robes. Ew. Nobody told me about this part.
If you, what about jackets? Like sick, like club jackets.
If they were club jackets, or even just a nice suit, you want to get dolled up to go to heaven? Why not? Robes, really? William Miller's popularity dwindled significantly, but he held firm to the belief that the second coming was approaching until he died in 1849. Maybe that's what he was predicting his own death. Might have been. I don't know. The more that we learn about space, the more terrifying the unknown becomes, right? Very Lovecraftian. Since we've started studying the stars, one of the biggest threats to our planet has been stray asteroids that could potentially hit Earth, which actually me up sometimes. Can't even think about it. There was one that they said, like, one asteroid's gonna pass by Earth.
Yeah, there's one that's passing by, and if it's like a very small chance. I think it's like 0.00 something. But if it passes by, that means the next orbit it has, it'll directly hit Earth. And everybody's like, that shit's so low of a chance. That ain't that. But most people take those odds gambling. Most people play the lottery and put money into something that has way less odds of happening. But when it's like, hey, there's like a 0.00001% chance that this asteroid threads a keyhole and then kills us in 30 years, nobody's worried. Do you think if we had a 30-year chance, though, like if we had a 30-year time frame, I feel like humans could destroy the asteroid. That would be the whole goal. If that asteroid threads the keyhole, society from then on for the next, 27 years or however long that shit is, it's 2.7%. That's really high. Wait, what? It's 2.7% chance? The asteroid Apophis is not expected to hit Earth, even though it will pass through a keyhole in 2029 that could have led to a collision in 2036. Thanks to further observations, scientists ruled both the 2029 and 2036 impact out, and Apophis will not pose a collision threat for the next 100 years. We're good, chat. We'll all be dead. Anyways, if an asteroid was going to hit Earth, say right now we knew, 30 years, an asteroid's hitting Earth. Do you think that we as humanity would be able to stop it? I think it depends how big the asteroid is. I'm pretty confident China, Russia, US all make buddies for a little bit, and we just start nuking the piss out of that fucking asteroid. We just start sending every fucking thing we have in the arsenal just right at that motherfucker. Yeah, just start blowing it up. Start redirecting it into... I don't think we would try and blow it up. I think we would try to change its orbit in some way where it passed.
Earth, and they're like, but when it passes by in 30 years, it's supposed to come back and hit us. I think they disproved it.
Here's my thing. If an asteroid's coming, don't tell me.
I would rather just not know. What benefit do you gain of being like, hey guys, seriously?
I'd want to know, because I'd stop doing everyday bullshit before. What the fuck? If you were like, an asteroid's gonna hit in 10 years, I'm not gonna start thinking about shit for when I'm 50. I'd be like, all right, well, I'm gonna be dead in 10 years, so I'll just go fucking do other shit. Like, you would change your game plan if you knew.
Oh, in movies and shit. In movies, they do that to build conflict for the movie. But what would happen is, like, Elon and all those guys, they'd be like, I don't know, I'm just gonna try this spaceship out. And they'd leave and never come back. As soon as that starts happening, well, Mark Zuckerberg's building like he built like a giant bunker in Hawaii.
Yeah, like $100 million bunker. It's like 10 floors, 30 floors or some shit.
He said, well, it's not a doomsday bunker. It's just
and that's funny too. They're like, so what's up with the doomsday bunker? He's like, hey, it's not really a doomsday bunker. It's just you could live there for 700 years if you wanted to.
It's a man cave.
It's like more of a man cave. And you're like, huh? Anyways, in 1910, many believed a nearby comet would end humanity. Halley's Comet, remember that one? Is visible from Earth every 72 to 80 years and has been spotted by humans dating back since
72 to 80 years. It was last visible in 1986. 2061. All right, that's a goal for me to live that long. I'll be 59.
40 BC.
That's the Fortnite meteor. You see Halley's Comet and Kevin the Cube's on it, you're like, everybody forgets about Fortnite. It's 2061. It's Kevin.
Which is crazy. I mean, go somewhere else. Hello. Scientists had predicted that 1910 would be the next time it passes Earth and observed the comet flying by using a spectrograph. This new technology allowed astronomers to view the chemical composition of the comet, and to their horror, they discovered its tail that was made of cyanogen gas, which is extremely toxic. Oh, shit. After publishing the report, a French reporter put out an article discussing their findings, but also included a line saying the gas from the comet could, quote, impregnate the atmosphere and possibly snuff out all life on the planet. Bit of creative liberty in the title there, buddy. People began to freak out over the headline, believing that their death was imminent. Before the comet could pass, companies began to sell comet pills, which claimed to fight off the effects of the toxic gas. Insurance companies offered...
Oh, that's so awesome. That's so fucking awesome, dude. Literally just a scam product that people fell for. These comet pills are novelty only. They have no therapeutic value.
Comet pills, which claim to fight off the effects of the toxic gas.
Dr. Haley's Comet Fever, a once-in-a-lifetime confection.
Insurance companies offered policies of people's belongings in case they were destroyed. Farmers around the globe refused...
Oh, well, they just knew. The insurance companies knew that shit wasn't going to do anything. They were just fucking scalping money off people.
...to plant crops, believing that there was no point since everyone would be dead. No more corn. I'm done with corn. Others locked themselves inside their homes, while others fled to the caves and sealed themselves deep underground, which I'm pretty sure is partially some of the inspiration for Fallout.
Oh.
There you go. After the comet passed and nothing happened, people were shocked to still be alive, and they moved on with the rest of their lives. I wonder what's happened with the guy who took comet pills. Well, Greg, we took those, you like look over to him, he's like having a seizure.
He's on Halley's Comet right now.
Yeah. Woo! In 1993, former sociology professor Hon Ming Chen had created a Taiwanese cult named God Salvation Church. It had also referred to itself as Chen Dao, or True Way, as well as God Saves the Earth Flying Saucer Foundation. I like that one the most. God Save Zero's Flying Saucer Foundation. It was a belief system that was a mix of various religions and other Western cult-like beliefs, like the acceptance of alien intervention, right? You see a lot of that with Heaven's Gate. Kind of became a big thing in the 70s.
Yeah, the Heaven's Gate shit was so fucking stupid, though. There's an alien spaceship that's passing by. You have to kill yourself to reach it. Huh? Huh? If you die, you'll go to the gate. What? No.
Kind of evolved over time. He claimed that the second coming of Christ would occur in 1999, with God revealing himself from a spaceship disguised as clouds that would take his followers up to heaven.
That'd be sick.
He claimed that he could talk to the gods and receive their wisdom through golden balls that he could see traveling across the sky. Of course, salvation was not free. It was reported that Chin charged $60,000 to join Chin Tao and another $30,000
$60 grand
to board their spaceship. He's like, you keep it under 100. They won't be suspicious.
Mind games.
Exactly. It's all here. He convinced 140.
Bro, how do you convince people to pay money for that, though, if you're also leaving? I just don't... Like, I don't want to say... I understand it's, like, a cult and there's, like, a bit of brainwashing involved, but I'm like, dude, these people are, like, more than gullible. Like, you're flat out falling for somebody saying, hey, give me $100,000 and we're all going to go on a spaceship somewhere else. Why do you need the money?
Dedicated members to sell all their belongings and move to California in 1995 after changing his mind about where the historic event would take place. This changed after followers witnessed the numbers 007 written in the clouds, which was interpreted as a sign that they must relocate their headquarters elsewhere. AKA, there was probably a 007 convention happening around. They're like, oh, Colorado, we gotta go. Despite the fact that this was actually just a marketing stunt to advertise the 19...
Oh my god, a fucking religious cult saw 007 in the sky and changed where they needed to all move because of a James Bond ad.
Bear Trap. To advertise the 1997 James Bond movie, Tomorrow Never Dies. They slowly relocated to Garland, Texas. Apparently, this is because Chin thought saying Garland really fast sounded like Godland.
From what Master Chin says, Garland sounds like Godland, and apparently thousands of years ago, God was here and they were told to return here.
Garland. What's that sound like? Can I do that accent, or is that a problem?
I think it's fine.
All right. Chin had guaranteed on his own life that God would make his appearance in Texas, of all places. Not a bad bet. You're in good company in Texas saying that kind of shit. Where would God go first? Everyone's like, probably fucking Texas. Probably fucking Texas, all right? In total, they purchased around 30 houses on Ridgedale Avenue, soon handing out flyers to its other inhabitants on bicycles in order to thank them for tolerating their activity in the neighborhood as well as their magnanimous acceptance. Trying to win people over. It's like, more money. Garland, we're kind of weird. See a ball in sky.
Oh, no.
Garland, what's that sound like to you? Like, what? Garland, what's it sound like? Rhetorical. Don't talk. I talk you don't talk back. They would wear all white outfits and cowboy hats. Awesome. That is so sick. Confusing the neighborhood as to why they suddenly become the headquarters of a strange cult. Some claim they were friendly and that their beliefs were simply amusing to them. AKA, they're like, look, they look funny. What do you guys happen? Be alien. You don't talk to them. We cowboy now. Right. Oh, okay. You are phony as man.
But when
That
did
is
they...
awesome.
Oh,
They claim
no.
that on
When did they fucking stop believing in that, though? Did they, like, turn on the leader guy?
the 25th, just days before, God would show himself on Channel 18 across every television set in the country, taking on Chin's exact appearance.
It's 5 minutes after 12 right now, and Hunmin Chin's not on there yet. And according to his own philosophy and preachings that we've heard, he's a phony.
He knew he had an interview coming.
So he had an interview for why it didn't happen and he just never showed?
I don't know. From there, God would then help people survive a nuclear apocalypse that would occur in 1999. It would bring people to a specific rendezvous point on the shores of Lake Michigan.
Can I survive a day with Navy SEALs? Nope. I'm already saying, nope. Can't do that. Hell no. Survive a day with Navy SEALs. I bet it's going to be dumbed down a little bit. Like, I doubt they're actually doing BUDS training. Anything where they're like, I'm drowning is a no-go. You know, chat, I started off topic, but it has to kind of do with the video. I started watching this new Fear Factor. I used to watch Fear Factor like way back, like with Joe Rogan, like years ago. They have this Fear Factor now that's kind of like akin to like Big Brother with Johnny Knoxville called House of Fear. And it's kind of corny, but it's also interesting, and they do stuff that is scary. I think I could do anything on Fear Factor outside of like anything that requires me drowning. I think I could eat like a dead, like something gross. Like, I think I could eat like a poop sandwich. Dude, it's 200K on the line. 200K on the line, they put a shit sandwich in front of you, bro. I'm getting it down. I'm getting it down. $200,000. Bro, come on. That or like, bro, there will be shit where it's like, you got to eat a bug. I'm like, eat a bug, bro. I ate a bug for fucking 300 biddies. That on stream. Fucking eat a bug for 200K. Oh, no, I can't do it. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, get the fuck out of here. You ain't ready for the show. Like, because it removes it. It's like, I know I'm not going to die on Fear Factor. Like, I could sit in a tub of leeches. That's no problem. You know, pain is fine. Like, I could do Fear Factor. Yeah, put my hand through a tube and have a snake bite me. As long as it's not venomous, I'm not giving a shit. Spiders, don't care. I don't like spiders. I'm scared of spiders. $200,000 on the line. I'm locked in. I'm locked in, you know? Like, no fucking problem. I was watching it last night. I'm talking to Brooke. I'm like, yo, I think I could eat a fucking live squid. Like they do in like certain Asian countries like Thailand or wherever. Yo, I think if you, 200K on the line, you put a fucking rat in front of me and go eat it. I'd go, hype myself up. You couldn't? Bro, I would try. I'm at least trying. Like, bro, 200K, I'm eating a rat. I'm eating a rat. A live rat? No, no. I would kill the rat. I'd eat like not a live chicken. I would eat like a raw chicken for like 200K. Get salmonella. Go to the hospital. Oh! That's where I'm calling it quits. Tie my arms behind my back and throw me in the water. I'm done. Hitting the panic button. It's over. That's like the guaranteed thing I could not do. Like, there's other shit that I might be too scared of unless I'm in the moment and then I gotta find out. I know I couldn't do that. I would freak out.
There are 3 phases. Phase 1, physical conditioning.
Float. I do not have the body fat to float. I sink like a rock in the water. My friend the other day, dude, I just run through stupid ass hypotheticals like Fear Factor and shit. Like, I feel like the pain stuff, like the other day my friend asked me, how much could somebody, like, say you have valuable information and somebody starts torturing you. What's, like, the worst thing that they could do that you could endure? I was like, I think if they cut off my pinky, I would get through that. If they start pulling my fingernails off and shit, though, no. Skin me? Yo, McChunky, I know for a fact tickle me. Okay, tickling, bro. Skin you. Chunky, they're not Chunky, if that motherfucker brings out a knife and he or tickle, those are 2 widely different things, Chunky. You're saying you're strapped to a chair and they're trying to get information out of you. You're caving on tickling and skinning are the same level. No.
We're about to start phase 1, which consists of a 1.5 mile run under 10 minutes and 30 seconds.
What is that mile time? Under 10:30, a mile and a half. That doesn't seem that hard. That's like a 7-minute mile. 3:30. Yeah, it'd be a 7-minute mile. 7-minute mile is not bad. 7-minute mile, like, I'd be wheezing, but, like, you could get it done.
Which is part of the SEAL physical screening test.
Oh, brother, chat's 2026. Come on.
Surf torture, sandbag caterpillar, and
surf torture. Can we get a little, explanation on what the fuck that means? What is surf torture? See, like, if I'm looking at this list and they're not explaining it, 1.5 mile run, all right, you know. I'd be able to handle that. Surf torture. The term torture is getting me a little bit here. I'm also not really a fan of surfing. I'm not very good at it. I don't know how fast of a swim that is. Do you have to do freestyle too? I would do, what's the one where you go like this? Okay, it's kind of hard to do not in the water. The fucking, like, purging. Honestly, maybe it would feel better because you'd feel gross and then you'd throw up and you'd probably feel so much better.
And setting. The
That
right
your trip would probably get better.
mix of emotional stability and soothing surroundings. Experts recommend a calm environment where users feel safe, and are able to lie down comfortably. Mixing substances can be extremely dangerous. Some users avoid alcohol, masturbation, and watching the news before attending an ayahuasca retreat. But not even the best preparation can guarantee DMT won't produce what many call a
Avoid masturbation and watching the news. What?
bad trip.
What?
Some users online describe experiences that leave them shaken for days, with flashbacks to vivid hallucinations of falling or flying through tunnels, and encounters with frightening beings.
The news can be bad. No, I get more of the news. I'm like, what the fuck's jerking off have to do with a good or a bad trip?
Psychedelics can also worsen existing mental health issues. People who suffer from psychotic disorders or are mentally unstable should not take them.
Yeah, if you're like predisposed for like schizophrenia or other mental disorders, you shouldn't.
In general, DMT should never be used without professional guidance. Sarah's experience will be guided by Dr. Strassman. In clinical settings like this one, DMT is administered via IV injection. It hits almost instantly. Sarah has previously been given a low introductory dose to see how her body reacts to the substance. Recreational users are advised to start with similar test doses. Sarah's low dose experience has been pleasant and relaxing. Now she's about to receive 5 full doses. She will go on 5 consecutive
What? So we're jumping from 0.05 to 5 full? What happened to the slow climb? We're just gonna be like, all right, well, you didn't die.
trips. After each one, Strassman will let her come
Wait, she's gonna trip 5 times in a row?
test doses. Sarah's low dose experience has been pleasant and relaxing. Now she's about to receive 5 full doses. She will go on 5 consecutive trips. After each one, Strassman will let her come down to check in with her. She's all set.
Yo, I feel like you could like lose your mind though, low-key. Like I know it's supposed to be good in some points for like finding yourself, but like she's gonna trip, come down from the trip, and then they're gonna interview her and immediately put her back in.
Sarah can feel the cool touch of Strassman's hand, and she's trying to count her heartbeats.
I got to 3 beats. Then there was a sound. Like a hum that turned into a whoosh. And then I was blasted out of my body at such speed, with such force, as if it were the speed of light. The colors were aggressive, terrifying. I felt as if they would consume me. As if I were on a warp speed conveyor belt heading straight into the cosmic, psychedelic buzzsaw. I was terrified. I felt abandoned. I'm completely and totally lost. I have never been so alone. I was scared. But I kept telling myself, relax, surrender, embrace. It was all flashing and whirling lights. I was rather disappointed. Here I'm expecting this profound spiritual experience and I get Las Vegas. But then, before I had much time to be disappointed, I flew on and saw clowns performing. They were like toys or animated clowns. I had the overwhelming urge to laugh. I was kind of self-conscious about it at first, but I couldn't contain
That shit would not make me laugh, bro. If I saw clowns while I was tripping, that would make things so much worse.
myself, and I laughed out loud watching those clowns. Suddenly, a pulsating entity appeared in the patterns. It sounds weird to describe it as Tinkerbell-like. It was trying to coax me to go with it. At first, I was reluctant. I did want to go with it. I could tell the drug was starting to wear off, and I wasn't high enough to follow it. I told it I can't go with you now. See, they want me back. It didn't seem to be offended and, in fact, followed me back until I sensed it had reached its boundary. I felt like it was saying goodbye.
Sarah needs a short break. The start of her trip has been especially intense. That's something Timmerman hears from many of his own participants.
People can feel, especially at the beginning of the experience, that they're being launched from a rocket, as if they're like going into outer space and they're in a rocket. And so there's a strong feeling of energy and vibrations in their body. They are interacting with beings, spirits, entities, jesters, clowns, a range of different ways in which people see these beings that interact with the participants, that they engage with them, invite them to do something, to communicate, and so forth and so on.
Encounters with such beings seem to be a common experience in many DMT trips. For one of his studies, Timmerman analyzed nearly 4,000 DMT experiences posted on Reddit. Almost half mentioned similar entity encounters. In a 2021 field study with 36 participants, almost everyone reported an encounter with some sort of sentient being. But how do these encounters actually unfold? That's what Baltimore's Johns Hopkins University asked over 2,500 DMT
Yeah,
users.
and like what in your brain is making you interact with these things? A lot of people would say it would be like another universe that you're like breaching into, but I feel like largely they're trying to figure out like what scientifically is going on in your brain that's making you produce these visuals of like literally like a conversation you're having with yourself, but you don't control what the other thing is saying.
In an online survey.
Yeah, it's like a consciousness personified. I would assume it's like an awake dream state, you know? Like, when you're dreaming, you are interacting with other things, and those things are interacting with you. You feel as if you're in control of yourself in the dream, even if you're not lucid dreaming, you're kind of like controlling your interaction. But the alternative or the ulterior people around you, you don't. I would assume it's that, but just amplified because you're conscious while it's happening.
First question was about the primary senses involved in the encounter. Most participants reported seeing them, and more than half described hearing them. About a third said they could touch them, while some could even smell or taste them. A whopping 85% described their encounter as extrasensory or telepathic. The most common descriptive labels for the entities were beings, guides, spirits, aliens, and helpers. Less common labels were clowns, demons, gnomes, monsters, or devils.
Dude, I would be the 2%, man. I'd see Lucifer himself.
As to the emotions involved, most participants reported feelings of love, trust, and joy. Only a minority experienced fear. 11% believed they had encountered religious figures.
Well, I feel like you could have both. Like you could experience fear and love within the same trip.
11% believed they had encountered religious figures, meaning some people think they saw God in these beings.
This is what some of the research has found, and some people have reported that. And it is interesting because,
I could so see myself, like, signing up for one of these experiments, and everybody around me being like, I saw God. It's just a great experience. It was so eye-opening. And then I'm tripping, and I just see, like, Big Chungus. And, like, like, me and Big Chungus go to, like, a mediocre, like, water park together or something. Like, we have, like, a very mid experience. It's like, I'm like, oh, I'm really hyped. I think I'm gonna see God. And then it's just, like, you know, just the most lackluster. I see Sonic, but me and him are just going to like Spencer's, and we're going to Spencer's, just strolling the store, some shit. And I'm like, damn, dude, this is kind of lame. He's like over explaining things to me. Big Chungus is trauma dumping on me right mid trip, and I'm sitting there like, damn, bro, that sucks. Yeah, bro. Yeah, like I'm trying to like figure out my own shit, you know.
Way God is a personification of these spiritual or mystical like qualities according to certain religions, and it seems that DMT stimulates those sort of experiences.
DMT appears to have a significant impact on people's religious beliefs and their sense of spirituality. This study surveyed users who reported so-called God encounter experiences during psychedelic trips. 25% described them as atheists before their trip, meaning they didn't believe in God. Afterwards, their number dropped to just 7%. Among ayahuasca users, atheist identification declined from 12 to 3%.
I wonder if those people have taken mushrooms previously. I wouldn't say that I'm an atheist. I would say when I've tripped, I have felt like an overall welcoming love from the universe, but I would say that's more attuned to the universe than a specific religion. Like, I could believe in a God. I don't believe in any organized religion.
Sarah, too, is...
That's why I would say I'm agnostic. Like, I don't believe in any monotheistic religion. For sure. But like, I could get behind the idea that a God exists.
Deeply moved by these encounters. She's about to receive her final injection.
I went directly into deep space. They knew I was coming back. They told me there were many things they could share with us when we learn how to make more extended contact. Again, they wanted something from me, not just physical information. They were interested in emotions and feelings. I told them, we have something we can give you, spirituality. I guess what I really meant was love. I tried to figure out how to do this. I felt a tremendous energy, brilliant pink light with white edges, building on my left side. I knew it was spiritual energy and love. They were on my right, so I reached out my hands across the universe and prepared to be a bridge. I let this energy pass through me to them. I said something like, see, there I did it for you. You have it. They were grateful. I was coming down off the DMT, losing altitude.
Sarah didn't expect to become what she called an earthly spiritual emissary during her trip. She doesn't feel comfortable with that role, but has done her best to live up to it. Now it's the next participant's turn, number 35. Over the course of 5 years, Strassman observes hundreds of these trips. He administers about 400 doses of DMT to 60 volunteers. He eventually calls DMT the spirit molecule because of the spiritual and metaphysical experiences it appears to induce. Strassman's work in the 1990s was groundbreaking research, but it also raised more questions than it could answer. Since then, many neuroscientists have picked up where he left off. So what's actually happening inside our brain when we take DMT?
Dude, this is such an interesting video. Would you sign up for this? I don't think I would want to do 5 trips in a row now. I would sign up for something like this where it's like, you know, medically monitored for me to do DMT and explain an experience though.
Modern neuroscience suggests that our brain has a hierarchical modular organization. Modular means that certain nerve cells work together in different types of clusters or brain networks, specialized in specific functions. There appears to only be a limited amount of communication between these networks. Hierarchical means that higher order areas, like the prefrontal cortex, collect signals from different areas across the brain to coordinate appropriate responses. But that entire organization seems to pretty much collapse when our brain is on DMT. The key players here are these special serotonin receptors. They determine how sensitive neurons react to incoming signals. That in turn impacts how information is transmitted and processed within and across brain regions. When DMT binds to these receptors, the brain's usual top-down control mechanisms become less effective. It's like the neurochemical reins come off. One of the experts we talked to thinks DMT makes the brain become more democratic. Another calls it anarchy. Either way, the brain suddenly enters a state in which far more areas communicate with each other than usual. Scientists call this global hyperconnectivity. It's completely different from how the brain normally operates. But how does this explain these extremely vivid hallucinations? Why do some users feel as if they're entering an entirely different reality? One explanation,
Like a part of your brain, like I feel like it has to be related to like dreaming. Like a part of your brain that's active when you're asleep more so and more connected is like awake while you're awake. And that's not normal.
is that the brain sort of disconnects from external information. In this paper, Chris Timmerman proposes that DMT disrupts the brain's normal way of processing sensory input. The technical term is functional deafferentation.
It's a state of disconnected consciousness. We're disconnected from the external environment individuals feel.
Instead, the brain shifts into a completely new state, a kind of internal simulation.
They report that they are in an immersive world of experience.
But where does this other world come from? One clue to unravel this mystery could be dreaming. All those weird things that happen in our dreams seem similar to what people describe on DMT.
They are disconnected.
But you're so much more conscious. You're disconnected from the external experience, right? Like you're not seeing like your eyes could be open, you're on DMT, you're not even seeing what your eyes are seeing. Like you're just witnessing your own trip itself because you're basically awake dreaming.
From their immediate environments and their own brains, and the organism as a whole is reconstructing an alternative world of experience. It's very similar to what happens during DMT experiences.
Timmerman and colleagues found that the strongest rhythms of theta waves in the brain correlate with the peak of a DMT trip. The same patterns are found during REM sleep. He writes that a DMT trip is like dreaming with your eyes open, except that DMT trips are usually far more intense and vivid than normal dreams. Neuroscientist Andrew Gallimore has a theory about why that is. In our dreams, the brain sort of rebuilds our real-life experiences, drawing on established patterns of information. But on DMT, those familiar templates come undone. Everything becomes more open, chaotic, and unpredictable.
It's like you're seeing the world anew, like you've never seen it before. Your brain, you haven't decided what you're seeing. And coupled with this increased sensitivity to sensory information, the world becomes transcendent. It becomes much more vivid.
Which brings us to one of the wildest DMT experiences of all, encountering spiritual entities or sentient beings. There are different theories about these types of encounters. One study examined how these two brain regions behave under the influence of DMT. These areas are essential for recognizing social cues and processing the emotional dynamics of human interaction.
So when we have our normal experiences and we interact with our partners or co-workers, our sons and daughters, these same systems also start engaging in the brain.
In turn, these areas become active when we try to understand someone else's thoughts and feelings. or more specifically, when we try to distinguish their mental state from our own.
So right now we're working with a hypothesis based on what we found, that in essence what DMT does, it engages parts of what we call social cognition, the ways in which we build up our relationships in the world.
In the hyperconnected DMT brain, these two regions engage far more intensely with each other and with other areas.
And so we believe
your brain is controlling it, but you're creating like an ulterior individual that you're communicating with, like you would an actual different person.
That enhances or pronounce or enable the appearances of these beings or entities. It's almost as if we simulate those social relations.
Put simply, the brain massively ramps up its resources for processing social signals. And that could explain why so many DMT users encounter these entities or beings. Another key to understanding the substance could be just how similar DMT trips seem to feel to so-called near-death experiences. Such experiences can occur during traffic accidents, suicide attempts, and cardiac arrests. Many report a sense of brightness, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, losing track of time and space, or gaining insight into some ultimate truth.
The features that are similar to the near-death experiences and the DMT experiences are that feeling that many people have, that they have reached a sort of boundary or a limit of where they can go in this alternate reality or universe.
Timmerman thinks these near-death experiences could also be linked to global hyperconnectivity.
That is such a big transformation of the mind, such a big transformation of the brain, that it is likely that the brain is sending a signal that it's dying, that it is being transformed beyond recognition.
In other words, there's so much going on in the brain during a DMT trip that the brain blows all of its fuses. It basically thinks it's dying. And yet, there's one major difference between DMT trips and near-death experiences.
DMT is more visual, and near-death experiences are more disembodied.
Then again, near-death experiences are also far from being fully understood. This makes it even harder to draw reliable scientific conclusions with regard to DMT. Back in the 90s,
Yo, this is actually like one of the best YouTube videos I've ever seen, bro. This is so fucking fascinating.
Rick Strassman proposed a bold hypothesis that the spirit molecule, DMT.
So when you're tripping, not only is it like you're awake dreaming, it's like so amplified that like you're almost feeling what it would be like in your last moments, because your brain's actually convincing itself that you're fucking almost dead.
Might be released during crucial life events like birth, death, or profound mystical experiences. Today, there is strong evidence suggesting that DMT is produced naturally in mammalian brains. Scientists are still investigating why that is. Early findings suggest that DMT release in the brain correlates with a massive surge of stress hormones. One experiment with lab rats showed a significant increase in DMT levels following cardiac arrest. Another study suggests that releasing DMT in the brain could also have a protective function. The compound appears to activate a receptor that helps brain cells survive oxygen deprivation and oxidative stress. So DMT might as well be a kind of built-in emergency medication for life-threatening situations. And a very recent study suggests that DMT levels in our brain might be much higher than previously assumed, and that it may be involved in a number of physiological processes. So here's what we know so far. DMT occurs naturally in plants.
But when is that DMT in your body actually released outside of, oxygen deprivation, when you're having a fucking heart attack or when you're actually about to die? Like, are you getting microdosed with DMT like constantly? Like if there's that amount of DMT in your brain, when are you feeling it?
Mammals and humans. It's even considered endogenous, meaning our own bodies may produce it. We also know that when on DMT, our brain seems to be far more interconnected, that it activates so many different areas that it can feel like entering an entirely different world, one where we can communicate with all sorts of otherworldly beings. And in some cases, our brain gets so overwhelmed by this hyperconnected state that it thinks it's dying. But all of this is just the beginning. Early clues, hypotheses, and indications. Nothing more and nothing less. Most of the questions DMT poses to science are still wide open. For now, DMT remains a vast, unsolved mystery. We still don't fully understand how it creates such vivid hallucinations. We don't really know why our own body produces it, and we certainly don't understand how 50 milligrams of this tiny molecule can reshape entire lives in just 20 minutes. We're back in the Amazon rainforest. about 170 years after Richard Spruce. Once again, a British researcher is attending an ayahuasca ceremony. But things are different this time. Simon Ruffle is not a botanist, he's a psychiatrist. Unlike Spruce, he knows exactly what active compound he's dealing with. For the past decade, he's been studying ayahuasca to explore its potential role in healing trauma, like PTSD in war veterans. But so far, the number of participants has been too small for conclusive results, and some of them feel their mental health has worsened after the ayahuasca experience.
Wow.
But others show first signs of improvement. In some participants, Ruffle has observed significant reductions in depression and anxiety outcomes. Timmerman has seen similar indicators in his own research. His theory:
Depressed individuals tend to think that they are worthless individuals, that they are unlovable, for example. They adopt beliefs that are no longer useful for them. What DMT does, it acts on these brain mechanisms that are related to that sense of self, and they...
Oh my God. And so you've built this idea that like you're unlovable, your life sucks, and that'll never change. And so that DMT removes that linear line of thinking, and you could rebuild the way that you perceive your own life.
dynamically can
And then literally come out of it entirely different.
change it in a lasting way.
some studies suggest that meditation and other mindfulness-based practices could offer positive effects that are similar to those of psychedelic experiences.
Yeah, people that are really good at meditation and like long-term deep meditation do report that like they experience time dilation and hallucinations similarly. One of my philosophy professors, the one that was from Korea that taught me about Buddhism and Chinese philosophy in general, or just Asian philosophy in general, was really into meditation. And he told us that he would meditate for hours on end and it would feel like weeks.
But research on that is also just beginning. Chris Timmerman will continue to explore DMT's medical use, but he's also looking to unravel an even bigger mystery: human consciousness itself.
I'm particularly interested in using DMT to help us understand how we construct our usual worlds of experience.
He's chasing the same secret that made Terence McKenna set out about 60 years ago.
The world that we see out there is not necessarily the same world that is truly out there. We as human beings, our brains construct that world. I'm interested in using DMT to help us understand that construction.
What and how we map everything that we understand, because the world in the way that we perceive it is not actually the way that the world is. It's the way that our mind perceives it to help us survive. Wow. The impossible to debunk UFO events.
Let's start with the ones that are incredibly difficult to debunk and work our way towards the ones that are impossible. Number 5, the Tic Tac UFO. In April of 2020, the US government released these videos showing a pill-shaped UAP speeding above the ocean near San Diego, California. Not only was this criminal breaking the law by speeding, they were also flying completely recklessly. It went
Okay, well, before we even fucking get into this, we have to recognize that UFO doesn't mean alien. It just means unidentified flying object. Could be actually anything.
From
I've seen this video. I feel like this is the most known video too, where it's just a black and white image of something just darting across the sky. I'm not saying it misread anything. It is obviously a real video, but it's not definitively an alien. And this is coming from somebody that believes in aliens. I believe aliens exist. I don't know if this is a video of an alien, though.
Speeds to a complete stop, hovered in place, then instantly accelerated faster than any known jet in existence, dropping from 80,000 feet to sea level within a second. As you can tell, the quality is absolutely terrible.
80,000 feet to zero in a second? You guys think that's an alien? I don't know. Part of me is like, could this machinery have fucked up in some way? But multiple people are saying that they read this on different machines. But, like, what the fuck is it? Like, I don't know. Part of me thinks that if it is a UFO, it's not actually an alien in a flying saucer moving around. It's like, I think if when we interact with aliens, like hyper, like, intelligent aliens, I think it'll just be like a robot. You know what I mean? Like a drone. Because
that makes a hell of a lot more sense than the alien itself being in the ship.
Terrible, but don't worry. With my
How do you believe in aliens but not ghosts? In the least disrespectful way, I feel like that's a stupid question. How do I believe in aliens but not ghosts? Ghosts are supernatural, speculative, spiritual beings, whereas aliens would be biological, evolutionary organisms that are akin to us in just a different planet on a different timeline. Like, what ghosts take more of a jump than aliens? It's technically more likely by what we know that aliens exist than ghosts, by far. Explain the paranormal then? Human failure to recognize... What do you mean explain the paranormal? It's not real. I'm not definitively saying ghosts don't exist or the paranormal isn't real, but that's the response. Explain paranormal. The paranormal isn't paranormal. It's something else every time that somebody believes is this. And then the counter response is, really, every single ghost Yes. We just watched a video on fear and how your brain makes up shit biologically in the dark, which is every time where paranormal shit happens. Why do ghosts why do ghosts 99% of the time only come out at night when it's dark out in places that already look scary? I'm not saying ghosts don't exist. I'm saying aliens definitely do. Now, I'm not saying hyper-intelligent aliens, but the shit that creates life in the universe is common as fuck. Amino acids, like all these things that create DNA chains. Yes, that takes millions, billions of years to create, and there has to be the exact right, Goldilocks zone on a planet and things for all these, materials to collide and create life. But single-celled organisms are not rare. Multicellular organisms are. Hyper-intelligent organisms are even more rare. I'm not saying aliens. I'm saying aliens in the effect of like bacteria definitely exist on other planets. Ghosts, on the other hand, I don't know. And part of the reason I don't believe in that is because when I think I die, it's just lights out. So I would have to believe in something either spiritual or religious to believe in ghosts. And I don't.
My $600 computer and my state-of-the-art...
What did that say? What are your thoughts on religious people, Joe? Talked about that a million times. I respect any religion. I'm as right as you on our thoughts of whether or not God, the universe, anything was created in what way or not. Because faith is the strong belief in God or the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. Which is basically saying that it's objectively subjective, which that one guy really got mad at me that I said, because that's combating things, but you have to look at what I mean by that. Religion is an objective truth to an individual, but subjective to a majority. What you believe religiously is 100% true for you as what I believe for me, right? They're both subjective, and that's subjectivity in general. It's an opinion, but it's a very, 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 very strong opinion. And so that's why I say objective subjectivity. But I still respect any religion. I just don't believe in said religion. I have said some choice words about Scientology, but I also think that's a cult that fiends money out of people for manipulative reasons. So that's my own take on that. I actually did have a Scientology viewer that emailed me a very angry email when I said that too. So I still respect your beliefs, but I really do prompt you to look into the origin of your belief set, and why they kind of shield a lot of things with money walls. YH for the sub.
Our technology. I will be converting this terrible video into 4K resolution for the first time in history. Don't thank me. It's the least I could do. Now, the reason why this UAP sighting can't be debunked is simply because there isn't any known craft that can perform these maneuvers. But it gets even crazier.
Okay, it can't be debunked in that it's something else. It isn't a UFO. It's not a plane, right?
The craft didn't release any heat while flying, which would be expected from any conventional propulsion system. Then, of course, the obvious, its shape. The craft didn't have wings, rotors, exhaust, and clearly no aesthetics. Yuck. The US government has confirmed that it has no explanation for what the craft is, how it moves, or where it comes from. So you're probably thinking, how can this sighting sit at the top of the list when there's actual video proof? Well, after years of being lied to, it's hard to believe anything the government tells us. It's not my fault that I ended up this way. It's theirs. Number 4, the Washington Flap. In July of 1952, Washington National Airport and Andrews Air Force Base detected fast-moving objects in the sky performing impossible maneuvers. The operators moved in to investigate. What they saw left them in shambles. The flying objects were seen hovering in place and instantly darting off in random directions. They made quick turns, sudden stops, vanished and reappeared unpredictably. But get this, the U.S.
I saw that shit in the sky when I was drunk one time. I like laid on the asphalt and stared at the sky, and there was this like really fucking bright light that would just dart around. And did I see an alien? I don't know. I remember actively though, I was with my friend, and I said, if you're an alien, come closer. And the light got like 5 times brighter. And that I don't know if it was like a psychosis of like we both saw the same thing, but both of us actively recoiled because it was like instantaneous. I was like, if this is an alien, get brighter, and or like come closer, and it got so bright and then just disappeared. It was so weird. And I can't explain it. That, and then the only ghost story I can't explain is the one at the Airbnb, where I heard something jumping on the bed, and there was like pitter patter and wine in the sink, and I didn't have wine at the air. It was really weird. That. If anything, that was a ghost. But just because I can't explain it doesn't mean it was a ghost. Is more what I'm saying. Similar to the UFO shit. And I don't care if somebody's like, this is my ghost story. You don't believe in ghosts. What about all these stories? Fuck your story. It's your account. It's like I can't hedge my entire opinion on whether or not supernatural beings exist off of a fucking story somebody told me when they were 8 about how they saw a fucking old man staring at them when they were asleep. You had sleep paralysis. That's like the thing. It's like I can't, and it doesn't matter how many stories there are. It's like I haven't experienced that. So I can't fucking say I believe that. Yeah, it's all hearsay. It's all secondhand accounts. I'm not going to do that.
UAPs weren't just flying in random locations in the sky. They were flying directly over restricted airspace, directly over the White House and the surrounding Capitol buildings. This was a clear message. So naturally, the US sent fighter jets to confront the mysterious crafts. But they were easily outmaneuvered, disappearing when they approached and reappearing when the jets flew past them. Obviously, the UAPs knew they could never win in a fair head-to-head matchup. But here's where things get interesting. A Coast Guard officer managed to photograph these mysterious crafts. To this day, this photograph has never been debunked and remains unresolved.
It is weird. It is weird.
Been debunked. And
is it a UFO? Yeah. Is it an alien? I don't know.
Remains unresolved. The scariest part of all this is that these objects didn't just show up for one night. They flew over Washington, D.C. for 4 nights and were seen by thousands of people. In the coming days, countless newspapers printed thousands of articles exposing the event to the rest of the country. And as you can imagine,
this is 1952. When was Area 51 and like the B-52 bomber and all those created? Because that's why a lot of people thought they saw UFOs around Area 51, is because all those planes look drastically different from the planes we know and knew about prior to. And so when you look at it, it looks like a UFO.
The general public didn't take the
somebody redeemed headset that. Bother Jack and YH for the sub.
News well. It triggered a mass wave of fear, panic, and public anxiety. With public pressure growing, the CIA was forced to release a statement. The UFOs were an illusion produced by temperature inversion. As anxiety resumed, the government pivoted and simply reassured the public that the sightings were not hostile and did not represent a threat. Finally, an explanation they could understand. On the heels of that good news, people moved on, releasing countless books and films to profit from the event. Number 3, the Phoenix Lights. On March 13th,
That's just a B-52 bomber, bro. Like, word for word, that just looks... I know that's the lights. We're going to get into the lights. I haven't even heard the story yet. That just looks like a fucking bomber. That looks like a plane.
On March 13th, 1997, up to 20,000 people across Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico saw something in the sky that night that forever changed their lives.
When?
1997, up to 20,000 people across Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico saw something in the sky that night that forever changed their lives. Around 7:30 p.m., a large V-shaped craft appeared flying overhead at low altitude. It had 5 to 7 bright round lights along its base and flew
It's B-52, not B-2. I said B-52.
completely silent. Witnesses claimed the craft was enormous, spanning around a mile in length. Some even described that it felt like a
Oh, it's B-2.
floating city was flying overhead.
Sorry.
For perspective, the largest known craft today has a wingspan of around 385 feet, or 117 meters, which means this craft would have been around 14 times larger than the largest craft on Earth. Later, while speaking to the news, some even claimed that the craft flew so low that night that they could have hit it with.
They interview the worst people, though, bro. They interview the worst people whenever it's UFO shit. So what'd you see? Oh, well, actually, I saw a UFO when I came outside of the 7-Eleven, and it was just signing. It was over the, it was over the mountains right over there. It was like big bright light. Fucking dude, like I looked at people that I've never seen before in my entire life. I'm like, you fucking just interview like who are we pulling off the side of the street to fucking get an interview here of what they saw?
The ball, which we can all agree is a weird time to show off. The craft flew from Nevada and into Mexico before it disappeared into the sky around 10 p.m. After the event, many Air Force pilots, including the governor of Arizona.
I live near an air base and I see a B-2 at night. Looks like something an alien at night. Even when you know what it is. Bro, that's the shit with like Starlink. A lot of people do that. I think it's less now because most people know about it. But there was like a long time where people were like tweeting out like, damn, I just saw aliens. It was just Starlink satellites.
Came out and said that they had never seen or heard of any aircraft like the one they saw on that night. Despite tremendous pressure, the U.S.
Why are most UFO sightings in the USA? No, there's more UFO sightings that people hear and talk about. You just hear about the ones in the USA.
Government never issued an official statement about what flew through the sky that night. To this day, the event remains one of the greatest UAP mysteries in history. Number 2, the Belgian UFO wave. Typically, when UFO or UAP sightings occur, it's usually followed by intense cover-ups, threats, and misinformation. You just have to take a look at the Roswell incident, the Westall UFO encounter, the Hudson Valley UFO wave, and the US CSS Nostromo incident to see this pattern.
There was big like government cover-ups of those UFO sightings? Really?
But the Belgian UFO wave is one of the most interesting UFO encounters in history for a very unique reason. You see, the Belgian government was the first in history to be completely transparent, working hand in hand with citizens in an attempt to uncover the truth. From 1989 through 1990, there were over 13,500 reported UFO sightings across the country, with thousands of those leads.
I'm surprised in 1989. Do you think the US went over there? I truly believe that if there was like on the news a country that just said outwardly, like say a random, something not in NATO. What's like a country not in NATO where a UFO would land that would like outwardly broadcast that? Sweden? Yes. Is Sweden in? Sweden's not in NATO. Sweden's been a member of NATO for the last like year. Okay. Say a country not in NATO, because they would just tell everybody in NATO first. But say a country not in NATO, like, outwardly went on their news and they were like, here's a UFO, and put, like, images of it. You know that second from a fucking aircraft carrier or warehouse somewhere in the middle of nowhere, there is a jet plane flying right to that area to go check that shit out from the United States. Like, I'm telling you, the U.S. government would immediately be like, yeah, we're going to intrude on this. We're gonna stick our foot in this door real quick. No question. Like, not, if they would even ask, they would just be like, yeah, we're just going to go. I think so many countries would. I think Russia would. I think China would. I think so many countries. If there was like a confirmed UFO that some country was reporting on, immediately, bro, every fucking major power in the world would be like, I'm going there right now.
being officially documented by the Belgian government. Information that was gathered was quickly shared with the general public in hopes of finding out who or what exactly was flying over the restricted airspace. Obviously, there are way too many UFO sightings to cover here, so I'll just talk about their largest and most famous sighting, the Eupen sighting. On November 29th, 1989, around 5:30 p.m., 2 Belgian police officers were on patrol on the outskirts of Eupen when out of nowhere, a giant triangle craft appeared in the sky flying overhead at low altitude. The craft had bright circular lights underneath each corner, with a red light in the center, and it flew completely silently. The 2 officers followed the craft as it slowly worked its way into town. Once it arrived, it hovered above Eupen for about 45 minutes before it once again began to move. It slowly flew towards a nearby remote lake, where it hovered in place for around an hour before disappearing past the forest and
nobody shot at that shit one time. If that shit was in Texas, bro, I'd say give it 5 minutes. Somebody pulls out a fucking rifle and tries to shoot that shit down. Like, nobody, somebody tries to shoot that shit down. It's not in America, bro, the cops. You tell me nobody has a gun, they're like, yeah, I'm not going to fucking shoot it. I would shoot at that. I'd throw a rock at it, see what the fuck's up. I throw a rock at it, it instantly pulverizes me to like fucking burnt ash. It's just like, I'm like mid-wind back. The rock's not even out of my hand yet. Just instantly, I just get zapped into, I don't even exist. I just vaporized, missed.
To the horizon. But here's where things get even creepier. Back in town, a second similar craft appeared, seemingly following the same path as the first, before vanishing past the forest as well. Sightings like this one were not rare and occurred hundreds,
Bro, I wish I saw that shit.
if not thousands of times within the span of a year. But towards the end of 1990, the sightings began to slow significantly. The conclusion the government reached after thousands of reports and hundreds of investigations was that whatever these crafts were, they were unlike anything known to exist. To this day, the government still wants answers about what exactly they all saw. Number 1, the aerial school encounter. This is easily one of the most interesting, scary, and most bizarre encounters I've ever read about. On September 16th, 1994, in Rua, Zimbabwe, around 250 children were outside playing.
Why are there like all of these in the 90s? Why is every single one of these in the 90s? That does make sense that they would be around the same time, like an alien passing by, but still.
During morning recess, while the adults were...
Why does nobody take any photos of these? That's what Neil deGrasse Tyson and a bunch of other people say that like are prominent astrophysicists. They'll go, it's the 21st century. Why is nobody taking out their fucking phone that can film in 4K and record it?
Inside having a faculty meeting. Little did anyone know that on that day, these children's lives would never be the same. Multiple silver crafts instantly appeared in the sky right above them. For a few moments, the crafts faded and reappeared in different locations before descending into a nearby field beyond the playground. As many of the children ran into the school in complete fear, others decided to walk towards the landing site as it was just beyond the school grounds. As they arrived, many of the children were instantly traumatized by what they saw. Laying in the field was an oval flying saucer that was about the size of a small bus. But that wasn't all. Standing next to and on top of the craft were 2 gray aliens around 3 feet tall, with large black eyes and small mouths. Both were wearing skin-tight black suits. The one on top of the ship was walking around as if it were inspecting the craft, while the other was standing beside it, staring directly at the children. This is when the alien on the floor began to slowly approach them, before disappearing and returning back.
Bro, I can't believe, is it possible? Yes. But the idea that an alien from another solar system or galaxy would even within our own galaxy outside of it, would be a bipedal creature with 2 arms, 2 eyes, and functionally look the same. Yeah, it's 3 feet tall with big black eyes. It's walking on 2 feet. Get the fuck out of here. It evolved in the same exact way we did. Like, you know how random our evolution was? Like, it's not, no.
To its starting position.
Yeah, breathing. Well, breathing oxygen, carbon-based life, that's not insane.
It did this multiple times. Some children described it as if time itself was repeating, bending, or standing still. This is when many of the children received the exact same message telepathically. The aliens seemed frustrated, warning them that humans were the ones to blame for destroying the planet. Some of the children received the message with visions of the planet being destroyed, while others just felt an overwhelming sadness and a sense of urgency over the well-being of the planet. A few moments later, the aliens and the aircraft instantly vanished. Meanwhile, the children who had stormed into the school were still attempting to convince the adults of what had happened. Of course, they all believed the kids were playing a prank.
Oh, only children saw this. No adults saw, only children on a playground saw this. There weren't any other adults outside.
But once the rest of the kids arrived, it was obvious that whatever they saw left them traumatized, shaken, and in shock. Seeing this, the principal instructed all of the kids to draw what they saw. These are those drawings.
Bro, my God. We need a fucking Leonardo da Vinci in this class, bro. Come on. What the hell is that? That's just a flying saucer.
These are those drawings.
Amy Horn, I saw an oval shape. It was silver. The reason I don't believe this is because the idea of a UFO and the flying saucer is actually like misinformation of a misreading of an account from a pilot from like 40 years ago. So flying saucers aren't actual depictions of UFOs. It's literally a misinformation that was spread over time. Like I gotta look this up. How was the UFO created? Kenneth Arnold described seeing strange, fast-moving objects later in the event's 1947 Roswell incident. He said they moved like saucers if you skip them across the water. He didn't say they were flying saucers. He said they skipped like a saucer would. I gotta Google this. Did Kenneth Arnold say flying saucers? He didn't say they were shaped like saucers. He said they moved like a saucer, and the description was misinterpreted to coin the term flying saucer. He later said the objects may have been saucer or pie-shaped, but his description was actually about their motion. So now they're all seeing gray flying saucers, bro. Like, I don't know. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. That shit's fake. I don't care if all the kids drew the same thing, bro. That's what they saw. That's what they saw. That is like a corny ass depiction of an alien. Bro, I would be more agreeable that those aren't alien. Like, if this were real, I would be more agreeable that these are like hyper-evolved late-stage humans than aliens. Like, these are humans from 80,000 years, 100,000, a million years from now, where they've evolved so differently and they came back in time, and that's who we're speaking to. More so than these are aliens themselves. Okay, this kid needs to get an F in art class, because that is just a person.
Obviously, this is the only drawing that can't be trusted. As you can tell, the majority of the drawings are strikingly similar, while those who approached the landing site drew the same two aliens and ship. Keep in mind that many of the children were in different classes, as their ages ranged from 6 to 12 years old. After the incident, many of the students took weeks off from school to recover from what they had witnessed that day. Some never returned. To this day, over 30 years later, all of those children, now adults, still stand by their statements and what they—
Really? See, now that's more telling. That now that they're 35, they're still like, nah, I saw that shit.
witnessed that day. Not a single one of them has ever came out and said that this was a hoax or an elaborate prank of any kind.
Really? No, that's weird. None of them. Not one of them was like, this shit's fake. There was a gas leak? I don't know, bro. That's just so... Like, whenever they're like, yeah, I saw aliens, it was this flying saucer and they were a gray alien and looked like E.T. I just can't believe that. ASU frat party right now. Feeling gross.
Later notes in his journal that white men taking copy all seem to report the same experience.
Oh, what's fucking happening, bro? we're doing the fucking dynamic trio here.
Spruce has to fight off the urge to vomit and stretches out in a hammock. The copy is slowly kicking in.
They feel alternations of cold and heat, fear and...
God, dude, the urge to vomit. I haven't taken any other hallucinogens outside of mushrooms, but they're really so accurate. Holy fuck. I don't know about this drug, but that is so accurate for what hallucinations look like. Urge to fucking vomit after eating mushrooms is so bad. When you start hallucinating, you start feeling gross.
Later notes in his journal that white men taking copy all seem to report the same experience.
They feel alternations of cold and heat, fear and
oh my god. Yeah, staring at the sky and just seeing that.
boldness.
Like the trees are moving.
Sight is disturbed and vision. They feel alternations of cold and heat, fear and boldness.
What? Yo, that is actually so accurate. Holy fuck. I don't know about this drug, but that is so accurate for what hallucinations look like.
They feel alternations of cold and heat, fear and
oh my god. Yeah, staring at the sky and just seeing that.
boldness.
Like the trees are moving.
Sight is disturbed and visions pass rapidly before the eyes, wherein everything gorgeous and magnificent they have heard or read of seems combined, and presently the scene changes to things uncouth and horrible.
Hey, this is Jonas, one of the founders of Fern. It's not just psychedelics that can shape our minds, our thoughts.
Is this an ad?
10% off your first month.
Spruce calls the plant Banisteria caapi. Banisteria was the term used at the time for a class of tropical climbing plants. Caapi is an indigenous word for grass. He samples a couple of those vines, dries them, and has them shipped to England. Over the following years, Spruce keeps traveling.
Yo, side note, I gotta say, herbal psychopharmacology was the second best class I have ever taken in all of the 4 years of college I had. It is such an interesting class. Like, normally I hate, like, the nitty-gritty science of, like, what makes up something. But learning about, like, how certain drugs affect the mind and the body is fascinating. The mystery of the world's strongest drug.
This is test subject 34. She has just been given a substance often described as the most powerful psychedelic drug in the world.
Frog poison. 5-MeO-DMT.
It makes her feel like she's being launched into outer space. Other users report near-death experiences, profound insights, and mythical encounters with spiritual beings. The drug appears to shake the very foundations of human perception.
It is one of the most weird and unexpected things a person can go through.
Well, I also feel like being in an experiment where you're given DMT is... I'm assuming it's DMT, because that's the strongest drug. No, it's not salvia, because salvia you have to smoke. DMT... Well, DMT, you also smoke. Well, how are they giving this to her in a hospital? Maybe a pill? I don't know. It has to be DMT, though, because DMT is the strongest. DMT is the thing that's released in your brain when you die, in smaller amounts, though. But dimethyltryptamine, taking this in a hospital setting would be fucking utterly terrifying. Obviously, I've never taken DMT, so I don't know what it's like, but I've seen, videos of people take DMT, bro. They start tweaking. Imagine being on a fucking hospital bed. Beep, beep. Those blinding lights, I would convince myself that I'm dying.
We're talking about dimethyltryptamine, or DMT. In its pure synthetic form, it looks like an inconspicuous crystalline powder.
It's a very simple molecule.
Bro, who was I talking to? Was this on stream? Or was I having this conversation elsewhere? I knew a guy that was given a vape, and he hit it, and it was a DMT vape, and the guy told him that it was a weed vape. And then he started bugging out. I don't think I was told this story on stream. I think I heard this off stream. I don't think I've ever told it, though. I forget who told me that. That would be terrible. Imagine that. I forget who told me that. Somebody told me that story, and I remember I was talking to, it was a guy.
I think it was at a bar. And I was like, bro, were you upset? He was like, no, I had a good time. I'm like, dude, I would have been fucking tweaking, man. Imagine your friend, you're drunk. Your friend hands you a fucking vape and he's like, oh, don't worry, it's THC. You fucking hit that shit, it's DMT. You just start tripping balls in public. Huh.
And yet, DMT has been puzzling scientists around the globe for more than a century. The substance has been used in indigenous cultures for thousands of years. It occurs naturally in plants, animals, and even in the human body. But when
I always wonder how they figure that shit out from frogs. Because 5-MeO-DMT is the strongest type of DMT. And it's from the secretion frogs a Sonoran toad has. And the Sonoran toad releases this like whitish pus poison. And so they'll put the frog on like a platform and poke it to scare it, and then they'll scrape the poison off of its back, dry it, and then smoke it.
Interacts with our brain, things seem to go completely off the rails. Many users say DMT fundamentally changed their lives. And yet, other experiences suggest there's more to DMT than profound revelations.
I remember when Joe did this one stream, 5-MeO-DMT? Yeah, I captured a Sonoran toad IRL stream. Me and fucking FaZe Lacey. Me and Lacey went to the middle of the desert, captured a Sonoran toad, fucking scared it and smoked it. Sitting there going,
Mystical encounters and medical promise.
Nope.
For some people, the substance can also open doors to the darkest corners of their consciousness.
Not FaZe anymore, just Lacey, sorry.
This is the enduring mystery of DMT.
Because now you're not only just learning about like hallucinogens, you're learning about like what is that? Or out of nowhere, what is this intro? These types of visuals are common on hallucinogens, and people always see them and they're like, oh, that's what tripping's like. I'm like, dude, when you're tripping and you're actually seeing like not holograms, what are they called? It's in your eyes. The fractals. When you're seeing the fractals, like a kaleidoscope, when you're seeing those kaleidoscope visuals and you're like, dude, the amount of people that I'll see in like comment sections when it's like LSD trip visualization, it'll be some 15-year-old like, oh, this would be awesome. I can't wait to take acid. I'm like, yo, it's different from seeing it on a screen versus it being in your fucking brain, dude. That and you're hallucinating, you're hearing shit. Everything's heightened. You're basically taking poison, right? Because you're fucking tripping balls, dude. If it's like, it depends if it's like psilocybin, because that's like bug poison. But I think this visual is supposed to be the guy that invented acid. That's a crazy story. Guy that invented acid took it on the way home from the lab. He rode his bike back and he was tripping balls. Imagine inventing acid and then being the first guy to take it. How was acid invented? Mixing a bunch of chemicals. And then not knowing the
November
fucking doses.
1852. This is British botanist Richard Spruce. For the past 3 years, he's been making his way through the Amazon rainforest to study plants. He's
Ayahuasca. I'm calling it.
Particularly interested in mosses.
Fuck!
Along the way, he keeps encountering indigenous communities living deep in the jungle. He learns their languages and studies their customs. Right now, Spruce is staying with an indigenous group in what is now northwestern Brazil. Today is a special occasion. The tribe is about to hold a spiritual ceremony, and at the center of it all is this ritual brew. Its key ingredient is a specific type of liana. Indigenous people have been drinking or chewing it for thousands of years. Some groups call it napa, others baco, or pinde.
Okay, I'm dead wrong. Fuck! I took herbopsychopharmacology in college. Don't they take ayahuasca in like South America?
This group calls it kapi. And tonight, Spruce is going to try it himself.
Dude, you're in the fucking middle of a jungle. Fires around you. You're some fucking like British explorer, dude. You're with all these tribal guys that have been taking this shit for fucking centuries. And they're like, drink this. Psychopharmacology was basically a class learning about drugs. And I learned about like weed, mushrooms, coke, fentanyl, you know, just any amphetamine. You learn what type of
He watches several young members of the community drink the mixture before him.
drug classification each things are, how they are in the government, why they are the way they are, how they affect you.
He notes that, for about 10 minutes, they appear to be possessed with reckless fury. Then they calm down and simply continue dancing. Then it's his turn. But the tribe didn't just prepare Kapi for him.
I had scarcely dispatched one cup of the nauseous beverage when the ruler of the feast came up with a woman bearing a large calabash of mandioca beer called kashiri.
After that, protocol demands that he top things off with a cigar and a cup of palm wine.
What? They just hand this motherfucker just a pot of liquid and go, you gotta drink this, smoke a cigar, and then have some wine. What? I'd be like, am I at an ASU frat party right now?
South America, and repeatedly comes across Kapi. One of these encounters takes place in 1857 among an indigenous.
Oh, what's fucking happening, bro? we're doing the fucking dynamic trio here.
Group in Peru. They also use the vine to prepare a powerful brew. They mix it with other plants and call it ayahuasca. Spruce has to fight off the urge to vomit and stretches out in a hammock. The Kapi is slowly kicking in.
God, dude, the urge to vomit. I haven't taken any other hallucinogens outside of mushrooms, but the urge to fucking vomit after eating mushrooms is so bad. When you start hallucinating, you start feeling gross.
Later notes in his journal that white men taking Kapi all seem to report the same experience.
They feel alternations of cold and heat, fear and...
I called that shit. I would do that. I would only do ayahuasca, though, if I could do it in... What? Yo, that is actually so accurate. Holy fuck. I don't know about this drug, but that is so accurate for what hallucinations look like. In the jungle with, like, a shaman. That like, granted...
Experience.
They feel alternations of cold and heat, fear and...
Oh my god. Yeah, staring at me, the permission, and also, like, serenaded me. Because I've seen a lot of documentaries where the sky and just seeing that.
Boldness.
Like, the trees are moving.
Sight is disturbed, and visions pass rapidly before the eyes, wherein everything gorgeous and magnificently...
Where you do, like, an ayahuasca retreat, and you take it, and then it's like a whole traditional experience.
...have heard or read of seems combined. And presently the scene changes to things uncouth and horrible.
Hey, this is Jonas, one of the founders.
I think I would freak out, but I think it would be a good experience.
Spruce apparently doesn't drink it himself this time. Instead, he asks the locals to describe their experiences to him. To Spruce, the brew remains an unsolved mystery.
It's not just psychedelics that can shape our minds, our thoughts.
Is this an ad?
He simply can't figure out which particular substances cause these extreme effects. He's already familiar
10% off your first month.
with opium and cannabis, but Kapi seems to be much more potent. Spruce calls the plant Banisteria Kapi. Banisteria was the term used at the time for a class of tropical climbing. What he doesn't realize is that he's been looking in the wrong place. Plants. Kapi is an indigenous word for grass. He samples a couple of those vines, dries them. The plant he sent back to Europe isn't the key ingredient. Technically, it's not the liana or Banisteria Kapi that produces the intoxicant and has them shipped to England. Over the following years, Spruce keeps traveling.
Yo, side note, I gotta say, herbal psychopharmacology was the second best class I have ever taken.
Getting effect. The real trigger is a special compound found in the leaves mixed into the brew.
In all of the 4 years of college I had. It is such an interesting class. Like, normally I hate, like, the nitty-gritty science of, like, what makes up something, but learning about, like, how certain drugs affect the mind and the body is fascinating. Because now you're not only just learning about, like, hallucinogens, you're learning about, like, what is that? Herbopsychopharmacology was basically a class learning about drugs. And I learned about, like, weed, mushrooms, coke, fentanyl, you know, just any amphetamine. You learn what type of drug classification each things are, how they are in the government, why they are the way they are, how they affect you.
DMT, more precisely, N-DMT, South America, and repeatedly comes across Kapi. One of these encounters takes place in 1857 among an indigenous group in Peru. They also use the vine to prepare a powerful brew. They mix it with other plants and call it ayahuasca. Its molecular structure is surprisingly simple compared to other psychedelics. Its complete name is N.
I called that shit. I would do that. I would only do ayahuasca though if I could do it in the jungle with like a shaman. That like granted
was the first to synthesize the substance in the early 1930s. Back then, he had no idea of its extraordinary psychoactive effect.
documentaries where they
At its core, DMT is characterized by a nitrogen atom bonded to two methyl groups, hence the name dimethyl. A methyl group consists
where you do like an ayahuasca retreat and you take it and then it's like a whole traditional experience.
of one carbon atom bonded to three hydrogen atoms. It's one of the simplest building blocks in organic chemistry. The nitrogen
I think I would freak out, but I think it'd be a good experience.
atom is connected via a short carbon chain to the most important part of the molecular structure, the so-called indole ring. The same structural feature can also be found in other known psychedelics like LSD or psilocybin to describe their experiences to him. And within the molecular structure of serotonin, serotonin is a neurotransmitter. To Spruce, the brew remains an unsolved mystery. It plays a key role in some of our most essential bodily functions. He simply can't figure out which particular substances cause these extreme effects. He's already familiar with functions, from mood, sleep, digestion, and nausea, to wound healing and sexual desire. Because of their structural similarity with opium and cannabis, but copy seems to be much more potent. What he doesn't realize is that he's been looking in the wrong place. Similarity, psychedelics like DMT combine to the same receptors usually used by serotonin. The plant he sent back to Europe isn't the key ingredient. Technically, it's not the liana or Banisterium caapi that produces the intoxicant.
They're like key locks, and drugs are like specific keys that act on specific key locks.
Effect. The real trigger is a special compound found in the leaves mixed into the brew.
And so these classic psychedelic drugs, with which DMT is one of them, act on specific
DMT, more precisely, N-DMT. Its molecular structure is surprisingly simple compared to other psychedelics. Its complete name is N-dimethyltryptamine, but we'll simply refer to it as DMT throughout this video. German-Canadian chemist Richard Manske was the first to synthesize the substance in the early 1930s. Back then, he had no idea of its extraordinary psychoactive effects. At its core, DMT is characterized by a nitrogen atom bonded to two methyl groups, hence the name dimethyl. A methyl group consists of one carbon atom bonded to three hydrogen atoms. It's one of the simplest building blocks in organic chemistry. The nitrogen atom is connected via a short carbon chain to the most important part of the molecular structure, the
specific key locks in the brain, and
so-called indole ring. The same structural feature can also be found in other known psychedelics like LSD or psilocybin.
This is such a great way of explaining it. Oh my god. That certain drugs are keys to certain locks in your brain.
Specifically.
And within the molecular structure of serotonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter, a molecule that carries chemical messages or signals between nerve cells. It plays a key role in some of our most essential bodily functions, from mood, sleep, digestion, and nausea, to wound healing and sexual desire. Because of their structural similarity, psychedelics like DMT combine to the same receptors usually used by serotonin.
LARPing 101.
Go look at your paycheck. It's not at least 100 grand a month, you got work to do.
If it's not at least 100K a month, if you're not making $1.2 million a year, you gotta be doing work. I hate those like alpha male groups. You could make a video on just this guy alone. The dudes that like smoke cigars on a hoverboard and just scream at like insecure men that they need to get rich. And for some reason, these guys are paying them thinking it'll work. Any guy that sells a finance course on fucking social media, bro. Ugh. There's like maybe 2 or 3 of them that are successful. Keep in mind, most of these guys that sell these finance courses and show their Bugattis and their fucking McLarens and whatever weird cars they own and the rich houses they have, all of it's LARPing, and they LARP to a degree that you actually believe them. Then you buy their course, they actually get rich, and then they LARP more. Like, that's the method. So half of these guys are actually just fucking broke. Or they're Nepo babies acting like their parents' money is their money. I was talking to some, I can't name them because then it'll call these guys out. And then it'll start drama. A lot of these guys that'll be like, I went from being broke, I was working day-to-day jobs, and now I live in this mansion. The clips of them working like carpentry jobs is doing handyman work for their dad for like money. And now I live in this mansion, it's their dad's house. They're not rich. They still live at home with their parents. They have a car their parents bought them. That's nice. And they act like they're rich and sell courses to people. They're like LA kids. And they sell these courses to like other people. And most of the time these guys fail, right? There's like 100 guys doing this. And they all fucking fail. Except 2 of them. And those 2 guys are like world-renowned finance gurus. I got rich day trading. I know this. No, they know a little bit about the stock market, and they're pretty good at crypto. But most of the money they've made, say they have fucking $40 million, half of it's from selling shitty-ass courses in their Discord server. Like, most of the money they've made is LARPing to get people to believe they're rich and then actually getting rich. In reality, they made 10K one-time day trading, and then they post that 15 times. That gives them credibility. Then they cash out on a crypto they made from from people buying their courses, which they made money on. So they could just post these clips of like, I made this, I made this, I made this, I made this. Buy my course, I'll teach you how to get rich. They're not going to teach you how to get fucking rich because they never actually built themselves. They LARPed to success and then got people to buy their course, which actually made them successful. You're buying a course on them teaching you how to sell a course. There's guys that actually do that. Buy my course, I'll teach you how to sell a course. It's like a Ponzi scheme. Or not even it's not a Ponzi scheme. It's like a pyramid scheme. Ponzi schemes when you give money and then other people take that money and give it to somebody else that also invested.
LARPing.
We have seen the future, and it is LARP.
Short for live action roleplay. This is not a new term on the internet. We have videos from 10 years ago called LARPing Saved My Life, which no, it didn't. But before TikTok absolutely hijacked this word, it was used in reference to medieval roleplay.
Yeah, it was like medieval times shit. You're going to a Renaissance fair, you're LARPing.
And to explain the original meaning even more, it's just a bunch of, I would say, the coolest people on Earth, all committed to a medieval war storyline.
All right, boys, tear the flesh off that bone!
And then they're all...
All right, I think this is corny because they're wearing paper skeleton masks. But, like, I fuck with medieval LARPing. I like a Renaissance fair. I like a good LARP, okay? Not the new term LARP, like a good LARP. You're wearing chainmail and you're, like, kind of fake fighting. Like, that's sick. That's badass.
And then they'll all have names like Shadowfang, the Omen of Death, and it'd be a 42-year-old accountant named Greg. And there's real business behind the OG LARPing. Right? People would spend 300 doubloons on a LARPing sword, which might sound crazy, but people will be paying money to LARP right now. Saving up for 6 months to go to Miami and take pictures for the gram is arguably worse than spending $300 on a LARP sword. And the reason I call these people the coolest people on earth is because they don't LARP for the validation of others. They just have pure love for the game. But the modern version of...
Dude, I wish I could. I gotta hit up my friend and see if I could make a video about this guy. He does social media. He knows a guy that LARPs rich, and he showed me these reels, and it's literally him crying in front of a camera being like, I never thought I'd make this mill, but I'm finally here. I made it, and here's how I did it. And it's like, and he cuts to like the same image every time of him doing, it's like paint on his hands, and he's like, I was so poor. And I'm like, bro, you're never poor. You've lived in like a $50 million house.
LARPing mostly consists
your whole life
of either renting or flexing other people's things.
It's like straight bum shit, dude. It's like rich people that are bums.
This guy in the comments said rental camera, clothes, hat, watch, and car. Now, I don't know if this guy's actually renting out his whole life, but I know there's people that be financing clothes purely for the LARP. And I know there's people that also be posting images from Pinterest and other people's clips. Like, look at this guy all giddy that this video has no watermark. But is there not a sense of shame in posting somebody else's life and pretending it's yours? Like, maybe people will be impressed when they see it. You know, until they scroll and see a nigga with a 24-karat Lamborghini. But to the people that be going broke just to LARP, how does it feel when it's just you and your $40,000 in credit card debt?
Yeah, 40K in credit card debt so you can wear chrome hearts or some shit, bro. Like, I never understand that.
But back to our LARPing lesson, which I would say...
Or, bro, you see a motherfucker, yo, I can never get over people that be buying, like, sports cars with, like, 80K miles on it for, like, 40 grand. they're buying like a fucking BMW or a Hellcat with like 120,000 miles, and they're financing it for like $50K over the next 3 years. Oh, I mean, that is like by far like the only other fastest way you could burn money and light it on fire is if you bought a horse and shot it. That is the quickest way you lose money. That or gambling, you might win. The only other, it's financing a fucking a BMW or a Hellcat that has 100K miles on it from like 9 years ago. That's setting money on fire. Second fastest way to set money on fire: buy a living animal and kill it. Like that is the only other way that you could burn money quicker.
LARPing has sort of kept its original definition.
Because you're not getting anything out of that.
Roleplay aspect is now role-playing a rich nigga instead of a medieval dark wizard. But the term LARPing can also be used when somebody's pretending to have knowledge on some shit they just don't know about. Like there's people that just pretend to have watched a show instead of actually watching.
Leveling, we have Sung Jin Woo. That guy's
Nick A30 goes insane after getting early access to unreleased solo leveling Fortnite skins.
leveling. We have Sung Jin Woo. That guy's my favorite when he does all of his crazy anime stuff in the Jin Woo. That guy
he does all his crazy anime stuff.
That guy's my favorite when he does all of his crazy anime.
I've never seen this. Is this a sponsor? I feel like he has to glaze it. There's no way.
Stuff in the show, in the movies, like it really makes my day.
And then the same people will take part in discussions about the show.
Bro. First season of Solo Leveling, I haven't seen second season because it wasn't in dub, and I'm not gonna LARP. I love watching dub because I constantly look down, and if I'm watching sub, I can't look down. So I watch dub. First season of Solo Leveling, the story sucks. Fight scenes, oh, chef's kiss, right? I just love watching him get stronger and then fight bigger things. That's all I want to see. Every episode, he could just get stronger, fight something that's stronger than him, and be like, duh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat this. And then he beats it, and then he levels up, and then he fights something bigger. That's all you got to do. Rinse and repeat until he fights God. And then the show's over.
They watched it in 2x speed, divided in 3 parts on a TikTok channel. And this kind is beyond annoying when uninformed people want to act informed, and then just start spreading straight misinformation. And then there's people who outwardly express the fact that they like an artist.
Oh my God, people that LARP liking like underground rap. There's people that actually like Netspend, and then there's people that say they like Too Slimy. And I just can't. Like, I can't, like, that's, like, there's a level of, like, LARPing behind that, and it's like, okay, I understand why you like Netspend. It's, like, unique, and it's, like, different, and then it's like, okay, I'm just gonna be more different than that, and I'm gonna fuck with Too Slimy. Like, I like Too Slimy's, and people say that to me about funk. Bro, I was talking to Jack Pembroke about that. Jack was like, funk music's fucking noise pollution comparable to like Netspend. And I'm like, well, no, I like certain Netspend songs, but I'm like, bro, funk music is not noise pollution. There's a beat to it versus just that's cringe as fuck. Bro, I don't give a fuck. I love funk music. I used to like rave music. Now I like funk music. I just love shit with beats, bro. This shit gets you hyper, bro. This shit spikes your heart rate. I like that.
To the artist.
Makes me feel like I'm alive.
And then they'll just bite the aesthetic that's associated with liking that artist.
Yo, if you're gonna start me off with a song, what would it be? Viva la vida.
It's the worst time to stutter. It's the worst time to stutter. You can't, bro. That's like when you're trying to diss somebody and you're like, oh, well, you look like a, yeah. You just gotta say, like, if you don't get it out, it's just like, I'm just walking away. I'm just walking away. Never mind. Viva la vida.
With liking that artist.
Yo, if you're gonna start me off with a song, what would it be? Viva la vida. Viva la vida. By Cod.
I'd be like, bro, cut that out. Yo, like right after that, I'd be like, yo, chop that shit.
Alright, that was a targeted example, but it can be much more generalized. Like, let's say skating. People like the skater aesthetic, but aren't willing to actually put in the effort to get good. And these are referred to.
Bro, you know the shit that actually fucking pisses me off? I'm fine with people doing like hobby horsing or any of that, like hobby horsing or the fucking, what's the shit where they just grind on the floor? Sliding. I think that's cool. Whatever. Fine. You want to do that? I hate hobby mountain biking. Hobby mountain biking is the stupidest shit. How do I even find this? Because if I look up hobby mountain biking, it just shows me people actually mountain biking. hobby mountain biking is a thing where they have, oh God, is this one? No, it's just the front wheel. It's the front wheel. And they just run around with the front wheel. What would I look up to find that? Oh, they have hobby, oh my God, they have hobby motocross. I didn't even know that. I gotta cut the fucking music though. Like, I don't know if this is a meme. This isn't even what I'm talking about, but it's just, imagine this with like a mountain bike.
This is called Hobby Duro. This is Andy, and he went viral for being the first professional hobby rider. And Hobby Duro is basically just like normal enduro, but the stunts are much safer since your bike doesn't have an engine or wheels. But is this too dangerous? This is called Hobby Duro.
Bro, that's so lame. Like, that's so lame. Like, I get people liking hobby horsing, right? Like this, because you're doing like some sort of athletics and you're trying to like mock what a horse looks like. Like they're doing high jump basically. Like there's shows. You know, am I gonna go watch that? No, but like I'm not judging that. Hobby mountain biking, just get a fucking mountain bike, you chud. Why? Like you're doing tricks that you could just do on a bike. Like just sit on the bike, just ride the bike. Why? I get maybe hobby motocross. I get it even more than hobby mountain biking. Because like motocross, it's like, oh fuck, I could like snap my neck and die. But like hobby mountain biking, bro, there has to be a video of it. This is a guy commentating on it, but it's fine.
So here's another sport that's similar to hobby horsing.
Why am I doing
where
a
I guess
fucking
it's just the front
captcha?
fucking. I don't know if you guys have seen those, you know, the hobby horsing videos where people have a stick between their legs.
It's making me do a puzzle. This.
Where I guess it's just the front fucking tire of a mountain bike, and these guys do it. I don't know if you guys have seen those, you know, the hobby horsing videos where people have a stick between their legs, and then they pretend like they're on a, you know, like a horse obstacle course, and then they jump, but they jump themselves. And
like, why do you not just get on an actual bike? Like, this has to be fake. I understand this is LARPing, but this is like, why? Why? Just fingerboard? Bro, not even just fingerboard. What are we doing? Just have an actual bike. You're telling me you're too scared to just do the jump? Just do the jump. This seems like more effort.
I was going to say this is just as bad, but this is actually better than that, because this is at least, you know, part of a bike. You know, this is just the front part of a mountain bike.
Oh my God, no, stop. The fucking... Like it's a hard hang time. And then lands it back down. But you could learn how to do that in like a week. Like, you're not going to be good. You're going to fall probably sometimes, but it's like, ugh. Why?
To his poses, poses are an OG form of Lapa.
I've been using it for that thing Gumball's head, land surfing.
Same with the term casual in sports, like somebody that watches NBA here and there, but will still act like they got the most valid takes.
If Wemby can somehow get to at least the third round of the playoffs, would it be wrong to say Wemby is already better than LeBron?
And there's probably way more examples of terms that are just the same thing as lopping. But if you like the aesthetic of something, why not just actually get into it instead of pretending that you have? But when people use this form of pretending to have...
Because you jump from thing to thing. Like, if you're a LARPer for a specific hobby, you could just hop from hobby to hobby. You don't need to actually invest time into something that you seriously enjoy.
More knowledge about something than they actually do.
I'm just curious, what's the price on that rig there?
So yeah, you're probably...
It's mostly because they're just getting into it or they want to be included.
That kid actually knows his stuff, though. I'll see him on TikTok. That kid's not LARPing. No, seriously, I'm going to defend that kid. That kid's not LARPing. That kid actually knows tractors, and he's like 8 years old.
Getting into it or they want to be included in that community. But why is it not okay to not know everything about everything all the time? Can we just normalize saying I don't know again? Because when you don't and you pretend to know about some shit, it just comes off as rage bait. My current favorite video on the internet is this video of this guy asking his coworker, who's a better fighter in terms of boxing, Mike Tyson?
I was gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been.
Or Zuku Midoriya. And this nigga was
who would win in a fight?
Talking about how he's seen his fights.
Where would you place Zuko Midoriya?
I don't know. I would need to write this shit down. But Manny Pacquiao gotta be up there.
I still think Zuko Midoriya is over Mike Tyson. He's just too quick.
That's great.
He got.
Just say you don't know who Zuko Midoriya is, gang. It's fine, bro.
Oh, I thought he was just going, oh, well, if they had no powers. He didn't know who Izuku Midoriya was. I was going to say there's no world where, like, Mike Tyson with no powers beats Deku. Like, Deku's just fucking eviscerating you. Even though I hate Deku. Deku season 1 would lose to Mike Tyson.
And this nigga was talking about how he's seen his fights.
Where would you place Izuku Midoriya?
I don't know. I don't need to write this shit down. But Manny Pacquiao gotta be up there.
I still think Izuku Midoriya is over Mike Tyson. He's just too quick.
That's great.
Just say you don't know who Izuku Midoriya is, gang. It's fine, bro.
Oh my god, he's acting like he's just a regular boxer, bro.
But I find that the word lopping is often confused with flexing. It's confused when lopping is simply just flexing something that's not yours, or flexing a lifestyle that you know damn well you can't keep up with, but still promote the idea that this is the daily. And this confusion is just a side effect of the way that social media just is. Some flicks with a Nobu sign out in the back, bro. It is not telling you the story of the 16-hour shift that was just eaten away.
Bro, you see those videos of motherfuckers posted in front of a Lamborghini that isn't theirs, and then the owner pulls up and he's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, top 10 awkward moments. Top 10 awkward moments. You're getting Instagram flex in front of a Lambo that's not even rented. It's just not yours. It's just parked on the side of the road. And then the actual owner pulls up and he's like, yo, get off my car.
And the mindset behind lopping is a fucking domino effect. See, from the perspective of a lopper, it's like, why does everyone seem so plentiful and gold? And now you force my hand and I have to rent a Miami high-rise with the last of my savings. And easily the worst kind of lopper is the core sellers. People will lop having a get.
Yes! This is what I started this video with. They are the worst. This actual shit. Bro. Might be his, bro. Rented ass BMW. Rented ass shit. He don't own that fucking thing. He got that leased. That's one of his friends' cars. His dad bought it.
Rich quick method is them lopping. And they're selling their course by showing.
I will say, even if you are rich, yes, you could get inherited money. If you are a teenager and your parents are rich and you're flexing, you're LARPing. Because that's not your fucking money. If once you're like 25 and you have a job, even if you work for your fucking parents and now you have money, okay, fine. But like, you're LARPing being rich, even if you are a part of a rich family, because you have no money. Like, you're flexing shit that isn't really yours. Like, it's your car that your dad got you, your mom got you, but is it in your name? Maybe, but it's like, bro, you ain't got no money. They're paying the payments, they're paying your phone bill, they're paying your Wi-Fi bill, your insurance, all this other shit. You still live with them. Like, you're not rich. You live with somebody that's rich.
Videos of Lambos they don't own and vacations they got from other niggas' videos.
I promise, like, and even it's been a weird these past few months.
And this is a genuine method people were trying to make money. This is nicknamed the TJR method, and all because people believe this.
Yes, he's the one that started it. He's the one that started it, and it worked. TJR actually is fucking rich. But TJR made all these other goblins come out of the fucking woodworks that are like, I'm gonna fucking post my BMW that I rented and get people to buy my course. You're not TJR. You're not TJR, right? It worked for him. It's not gonna work for you. Ty Lopez is the OG. No, somebody in my chat just said, remember, Ty Lopez did it. No, Ty Lopez is the OG. Here in my garage with my new Lamborghini. But you know what's better than all these cars? Knowledge. I read a book every day. Bro, shut up. Fuck. That was the most annoying ad in like 2015 or whenever that was posted.
And that he lopped himself a Koenigsegg, which is a $3 million car, by the way. But in my opinion, though, I'll just say this is people hating. But there's this idea, which for the most part I think is a joke, but knowing the internet, you just never really know. And it's this idea that lopping is like a form of manifestation. The idea is that in order to become rich, you first have to pretend to be rich. And it's followed up with arguments like this. To sleep, you first have to act like you're asleep. Therefore, lopping is the key to life.
But it's not relevant, is it?
But there's a niche group of people that don't hate on lopping, but straight up promote it. I saw this TikTok from this guy, Ben Carr, a 10-minute video on how to lop. I have multiple extensive PowerPoint slides on each of the methods.
I fucking hate that video.
And I'll give it to bro, because this shit is
that video and that GIF pisses me off.
Revolutionary. Just peep the tech of using screenshots from videos instead of direct image.
What do you mean in-betweeners reference? Oh, right here.
Just from Pinterest. Reverse image search was a lopper's worst nightmare. This nigga really changed the game. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like lopping is not just human nature. At the end of the day, we all, yes, we all.
Also, this guy named Chris he's from Vancouver, Canada.
We all somewhat care about other.
Ranking everyone on Earth. Wait, no, that's a funny ass bit.
He's from Vancouver, Canada.
We all somewhat care about other people's opinions. Drop that nonchalant shit 2026, it's going on a mug. But especially when it comes to posting online, I will never believe that I post for myself logic. Cause when you think about it, it doesn't make any sense. Give me even one reason that shit did not remain in your camera roll then. But the main reason behind posting something personal has almost always been external validation. And in no universe am I trying to say this like it's wrong or a bad thing. It can be
Bro, should I do that? I'm thinking I would love to make a fucking tier list, not of everybody on Earth, but just random ass people. Optic Scumpy, Adam Sandler, Phase Adapt, my friend Chris. I just start pulling a random president, George Washington. Like, I just get like fucking 300 people that are like all over an area. I would have to make it though so I know who they are.
as simple as I like this photo, I'm gonna share it, and I hope
Rob Little.
Other people like
Rob Little followed me.
it. This can include a whole
big
bunch of other things too, like a photo of a sunset. Nobody gives a fuck about your sunset, bro. It should have stayed in the camera roll if you wanted to post it for yourself. But still, sharing it because you think it's cool and maybe other people will like the photo too, that is a valid reason for posting that sunset. LARPing is just an attempt to speedrun the most amount of validation, and the only times it's not is when it's done as a growth method, you know, the LARP your way to the top idea. And then there's people like J. Cole, who people say LARP's being humble. You know, maybe he's not LARPing being humble, but someone explained to me why this multi-millionaire is driving around in a beat-up Honda Civic. The way
Yeah, that is confusing.
some celebrities try to be relatable is so cringe because it's pure LARP. This clip of Rocky LARPing watching streamers.
Then y'all got the youngsters like, you know, Show Speed taking it to a whole nother level. And Kasana, he's still doing podcasting?
Nigga, who the hell is Show Speed? And then the Michael B. Jordan
Naruto
incident.
What do you think, Michael?
Names the two biggest streamers. You know, these streamers. I Show Speed, Mr. Beast.
B. Jordan's favorite anime is? It's a good question. Favorite anime is Naruto Shippuden. Naruto Shippuden. Been a fan of it for years, since I was like maybe 12, 13 years old.
I'm done, bro. Eat this outro.
Damn, dude. I would just make up some other shit. I would just say Dragon Ball. Because you can't mispronounce that. There's a lot of animes that I could pronounce. Or you could pronounce really badly. Naruto. What's another one? There's just like, I don't, not My Hero Academia, no. There's like so many, yeah, Pokemon, no. Jujutsu Kaisen, Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't know, or like characters even. Just more characters in the show. Like if you just say the character name wrong, bro, people will flame your ass. All right, yo, lock in. I actually got to piss real quick, then we'll hop into the next one.
Where flying saucers would take them to heaven after potentially stopping briefly on planet Mars, of course. And people in the neighborhood feared that the group would end up committing a massacre because, you know, Heaven's Gate. March 31st rolled around and still nothing happened. Chin approached a crowd of reporters and stated that he must have misinterpreted God's message. He stated that his remaining followers would once again relocate to New York. A large majority of them...
Oh my God, and the group definitely is just dwindling, you know? 140 people at the start. First miss, 100. Second miss, 80. Third miss, 60. Like, he's getting a smaller and smaller circle here that's following him place to place.
Gave up on Chen too entirely and began the process of moving back to Taiwan. He told everyone that he would punish himself by giving everyone in the crowd the next 10 minutes to either crucify or stone him to death, which nobody took him.
What? He told his followers... All right, you guys could just stone me to death. It's fine. I was wrong.
From there, Chin Tao's numbers were severely reduced, and the group faded into obscurity by the early 2000s. Who even knows? He might even still be out there.
I hope they crucified him.
What if one guy's like, I will? He's like, well.
The one guy actually does lean. You guys could stone me, man. I'm sorry. I was so wrong about the end of the world. All right, I'll do it. Oh, wait, no. No. When I meant like figuratively stone, like maybe hurl insults at me, not actually kill me.
Oh, 1 second. The ball just like fucking gets stoned. End of the world predictions have only become more common with the advancement of technology, and it wasn't too long ago that people thought computers were going to end the world.
There still exists a general state of either denial, complacency, or even apathy about both the reality and the potential effects of Y2K.
The year is 1999, and a lot of people are getting ready to celebrate the new millennium. However, not everyone's excited. A large group of people fully believe that the world was going to end as soon as the ball dropped because the world's computers would fail.
8 to 10% of the population were fairly confident that this was going to be an apocalypse.
It was
8 to 10% of the world population believed that the world would end or go into disaster in 2000. What, because technology would stop working because it wasn't able to function or something? Why the fuck would technology stop working?
Believe that the planes would crash, nuclear reactors would melt down, and systems controlling rockets would fail and be launched at random. All of this delirium stemmed from a simple misunderstanding of computers' code. Up until this point, computers' dates had worked from 00 to 99. But people believed that when the computer switched to 00, it would actually go back to 1900 and cause computer systems to fail. Oh, God!
No, it would just change the number. And the year 2000 is also based off the Gregorian calendar, which the majority of the world functions on. It actually has no definitive relation to the Earth at all. We for some reason live at 2025. It's not actually 2025. The Earth has been around for a long fucking time. It's based off the Gregorian calendar, which is based off Jesus.
God! To prepare for this upcoming event.
But roughly, because actually wasn't Jesus actually born around like the year 4 AD, not 0? Yeah, he was born between 6 and 4 BC. I don't know.
Then people withdrew their cash, believing that electronic banking would fall apart and destroy them financially. Businesses like Best Buy and Radio Shack warned people to turn off their computers so they wouldn't be messed with the time switch. And others built bunkers and stocked up supplies. On New Year's Day, all the computers switched over and there were minor crashes. Various ATMs were temporarily down and stoplights occasionally stopped working and random databases went down. No major computer system failed and all seemed to be normal. Out of all the craziness, nobody died, though a 104-year-old woman was invited to join a preschool because the system believed she was 4. Isn't that cute? That's awesome. If you're watching this, chances are the most memorable end of the world prediction from your...
That is pretty funny. You live so long that you start getting emails to join a preschool because because computers recognize you as 4 years old.
Your lifetime is the 2012 phenomenon. For people that don't remember this, or if you're too young or whatever, let me just tell you, when I was a kid, the 2012 thing, people were actually afraid of 2012. They were really afraid. My grandma, who has now passed, was like, we were watching the History Channel. She used to chain smoke cigarettes. We'd be watching like the History Channel. Of course, the History Channel had nothing to do with history. It was like aliens and shit. And she's chain smoking cigarettes, and then we were watching this 2012 thing, and she was getting me like horrified. And I was like watching it. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, like full on telling her, or full on telling him, you know, this is actually gonna happen. It's 2010. You only got 2 more years left, Hunter. I'd take those years I'd cherish them if I were you. Me, I've lived a long life. You're gonna die young. Sorry.
This is real? I'm like, this is like how many? This is like 10 years from now, you know, whatever. And she was like, when that year comes around, we should all stay together and we should just get together and make sure that we're with family. And I was like, what a haunting thing to say. It's like so cryptic, but everything's there. Like, we're gonna die and we should be together. It fucked me up, dude.
Was it the Nostradamus?
No, it was like, it's been so long, I can't remember. But all I know is just like the Mayan calendar's ending. Which also, even as a kid though, she's like, what the do they know? And she was like, well, the Mayans. I'm like, who cares about the Mayans? The fuck, maybe they ran out of stone. You know what I mean? I mean, how far were they just like, I mean, it'll pretty much be done by then. The idea that the world would face a cataclysmic event in 2012 didn't emerge out of nowhere. In fact, people claim that it was predicted thousands of years ago during the ancient Mayan civilization. A device called the long count calendar was used to measure time at a very long cycle that counted years in large chunks. In short, a new grand cycle was said to occur after every 13 Baktuns. Each Baktun consisted of 394.26 years. And it just so happens that the 13th one lands on December 21st, 2012. Instead of treating it similarly to the exciting beginning of a new millennium, people convinced themselves that a terrifying world-ending event would occur at the time. So much so that they even made movie about it with John Cusack. Really dumb. Not a good movie. He's in a limo and he like, whatever. Theories are ranged from disastrous fires, flooding, aliens invasions, and planetary collisions, and mass extinction. Some kids growing up around believers of this impending disaster admitted to developing serious fear and anxiety problems in their older years to their parents' endless paranoia. It was up. If you have said like,
bro, but like the Mayans didn't even say the world was going to end. It was just their calendar reset. And then people were like, yeah, this definitely means the Mayans knew the aliens were coming and they were going to fucking kill everybody on Earth.
the worst thing you can do is tell your kid like, I'm really afraid. Because like as a kid, you're like, what? And they're like, you're fine. I'm afraid. Custom high-end doomsday bunkers saw a 700% rise.
Yeah, as a parent, you got to just lie to your kid in that sense. Like, even if you are scared, you just tell them you're not. Because if you tell your kid, your kid, like a 5-year-old's going to look at their parents as like God. They're the end all to everything. So whatever they say goes. So if you tell them you're fucked, that'd be like, in their perspective, God telling you he's terrified and he has no control. You'd be like, what do you mean? You're the only one what do you mean? You're at the top. Like, that'd be mortifying.
During this time, as ultra-wealthy people wanted to play it safe and ensure the safety of their friends and family. Some preppers, like Tim Ralston in Arizona, would often perform doomsday dress rehearsals with the two children to make sure they were ready for the worst come December 21st. Another couple, Kathy and Bruce from New England, decided to stockpile bees instead of weapons. According to them, honey would become a valuable bartering tool in the coming apocalypse. I love that dude. That's a badass. Over in China, Liu Xingzhe decided to go a much different route, spending his entire life savings of $160,000 to build a 70-foot by 50-foot ark-like vessel to protect himself. He feared flooding the most and believed
that shit does not look like it would float.
Taking his homes to the seas would be the best option. Liu offered to let other people take refuge in alongside him. My boy Liu is selfless. He's a good man. In the end, the day came and went without anything significant occurring. Here we are.
I like to think that every time these doomsday predictions, that they actually happen in an alternate universe or the universe that keeps going on.
You like to think that?
Yeah.
Like we're a quantum immortality universe.
On TikTok, a woman opened up about how she and her husband have been talking with the Sumerian demon since July of 2013.
Me and my husband have essentially been talking to something on a Ouija board that goes by the name of Seven.
Oh, something on a Ouija board that goes by the name Seven. Oh, wait. Let's rewind. You and your husband were talking to a thing on a Ouija board made by Hasbro Games,
who has been telling us that the world is going to end May 27th, 2025.
TikTok rules, dude. She claims that one day the couple got bored and began to use a Ouija board, and out of nowhere, it began to talk to them in reverse binary.
In the moment, we have no idea what.
Bro, y'all are lame as hell. I'm so sorry. You and your fucking husband or boyfriend literally spent hours just fake moving a Ouija board around and fucking trying to decrypt what it was telling to you. This is so lame. Bro. She has a notebook of, dude, they probably sat by this Ouija board for like hours.
What this means, we Googled it later. This is again, July 2013. And it turns out it's binary, but it's backwards binary. So in this way, it meant nothing. But when we reversed the numbers, it meant hello. Since
that day, they began regularly communicating with the demon. Goddamn, they became friends with him.
Yeah, I know.
Yo, Rockschmaw, you there? Yo, Rockschmaw's funny as dude. The demon had told them that they are the third group he has contacted, and the first two died during the first atomic bomb dropped in World War II, and the others was when JFK was assassinated. So the demon contacted JFK. Eventually, it revealed that the world would end on May 27th, 2025, and repeatedly told them to climb the mountain or return to the mountain. In Sumerian. She said that they revealed the secret to close friends and strangers once they were drunk.
We have shared this with people. They either kind of wave it off, they're like, oh, that's cool, or they pretend, they say they're interested, but then they never really follow up.
Another person.
Yeah, because they're just trying to be nice and not call you fucking insane. Because they're your friends. They're not trying to go, hey, Cynthia, I think you're actually fucking crazy. I think this is the stupidest thing you've ever told me. And the fact that you and your husband have been spending the last, 3 years communicating to a demon on a Hasbro Games board is a bit of a waste of time.
Claims to have a recurring dream every 7 to 8 years where people all around the world gather to watch as the moon turns completely black. Like the eclipse? Yeah. Not long after, large groups of alien ships fly out from behind it and start terrorizing Earth. People flee and pray as they try to survive. Eventually, the night sky is empty and blown apart.
Like, if I could only buy a Ouija board at like if I could only buy a Ouija board with like the blood of a frog and the hand of a monkey, and I had to go under a bridge at 3 a.m. and unlock a door in a weird black market to buy the board, I would believe that that board was real. But the fact that I could go to my local Target and buy a Ouija board next to a Lego set of Super Mario Bros. Is probably telling me that that Ouija board is fucking fake. How do you say it? Ouija. A Ouija. I don't give a shit. A Ouija board. A Ouija board.
The person fully believes this is coming soon and that there have been warning signs all along. Yo,
a Luigi board. Maybe that's why it's next to Mario.
Roxas, stop that shit, bro. I'm gonna pee. A lot of people claim to have aliens in their dreams. Like one person who claimed to see a biblically accurate alien enslave the earth. Okay, first off, a biblically accurate alien. Got it. In their dream, a giant orange orb hovers over the earth, which is pulsating with plasma energy. It doesn't have eyes or any facial features, but everyone on earth felt like they were being watched. He described the being as God and explained that he knew without a doubt that the end of the world was imminent. The dream ended with the alien keeping people captive inside of a structure-like shopping mall and also abducting people and putting them into a giant orange orb. Sounds like he just wants to go to Orange Julius at the mall. Doesn't it? And I was super thirsty when I woke up. Rockshaw, stay away from me, man. Nobody truly knows when the world's gonna end, and that's probably a good thing. There are scientists out there who have listed numerous ways in which the Earth could end, right? Whether it's soon or within the next 1,000 years, but so far, every single prediction has been dead wrong. The next time you hear about some crazy world-ending event, take a step back and really think about what's being said. It's probably coming from someone who's chronically online or a scam artist looking to drain you of your bank account. Or, you know, pollution and all that kind of stuff will kill us too. There's a lot of fun ways the Earth's gonna end. It's gonna be sick. But hey, at least we have YouTube, am I right? Roll them credits!
I really liked that video. That was fun hearing about the various ways people convinced themselves the world was gonna end. Anyways.
Top 10 worst years in human history.
Around for roughly 200,000 years. And honestly, most...
Let me guess a few of them. Something with the Black Plague. World War II when the bombs dropped. In human history, I was going to say in history, probably when the meteor hit the dinosaurs. Humans weren't around then. 2008. Why? The housing market crash? Y2K when the world didn't end.
That time was spent dying in pools of our own diarrhea.
2020. I don't think like COVID years are top 10 worst years in human history. Yeah, Holocaust. That's why I said World War II.
So when you think of the worst years in human history, it's basically all of them. But that would be a boring video. So let's be prisoners of the moment and allow recency bias to cloud our analysis as we rank the top 10 worst years to be alive in human history. Number 10, 1918. This year kicks off with a
I feel like that was a pretty fire year now. Wasn't that right before the Roaring 20s? Roaring 20s was like a great time to fucking like be a middle-class American.
little something called the Spanish flu.
Unless you were black or a woman or a minority or a non-white man or disabled. Okay, so maybe it wasn't a great time to be alive during the 1920s.
Surprisingly, this flu wasn't
or gay. Yeah, okay.
Actually from Spain, but it was still no bueno. Exact numbers for the death toll are kind of hard to pin down.
Oh, Spanish flu.
But estimates range from 20 to 50 million human deaths globally. The Spanish flu was
50 million deaths. How many people died from COVID? 7.1 million. Wow. So Spanish flu was like 6 times that? No, 7 point something times.
Particularly deadly for 2 reasons. 1, it was a brand new strain of the flu, and 2, the conditions of the Great War made it so much easier for the disease to spread. Soldiers returning home brought the flu with them, infecting people in remote areas who had no immunity to the virus. What was extra special about the Spanish flu was that it was unusually deadly for young adults compared to other flu viruses of the time, leading to a significantly higher death toll. This disease...
Chat, if you got the Spanish flu, do you think you would eat that shit? I think I got a pretty weak immune system when it comes to, like, big illnesses. I had COVID twice, and I was fine. But that was COVID. Spanish flu, like, part of me... Okay, I would never want it, but part of me is like... Would I die with the Black Plague? Yeah. No modern medicine, right? Like, let's say you get the Spanish flu, but you're not allowed to take, like, Advil, Tylenol, nothing. Like, you're just you're ripping it. You know, like, you're lasting that shit out. It's wraps. Most of us are dying.
Was terrifying for doctors.
Black Plague has to be on this. The Black Plague was so bad that people thought it was an evil that brought the end of the world, bro. That many people fucking died. There were bodies in the streets, piles of dead people. When the Black Plague was like the devil himself coming back to Earth, bro. Like it was a third of Europe. I'm pretty sure it was more than a third of Europe. I think it was maybe a third of Europe as a whole, but a ton of, like, certain areas, like, almost everybody died. How many people in Europe died of the Black Plague? 50 million people, but this was in the 1300s. So 50 million people in the 1300s is way more than the 1900s. 30 to 60% of the continent's population of Europe died. Florence, for example, lost up to 60% of its population, similar to London. So, like, heavily populated cities lost, like, more than half of their people.
Just because of how quickly it spread, or how quickly their
It was a third of the world. That's what it was.
Patients died, but the process of how people died from it. Heliotrope cyanosis was a symptom of the Spanish flu, where a patient's skin would slowly turn purple as their lungs filled with fluid, preventing them from getting enough oxygen into their bloodstream. The blue/purple color would start in their lips and fingers, but eventually spread across their whole body as they neared death. After the patient passed, their entire body would then quickly turn from purple to black. Truly horrific stuff. To make matters worse, 1918 was also the final year of World War I, which saw another 5 million global casualties and made most of Europe no fun. Also in this year, you had the Russian Revolution going on, which ended the House of Romanov for good with the assassination of Nicholas II and his family this year. This revolution allowed Vladimir Lenin to take power, where he established a totalitarian dictatorship that oversaw the mass killing of political dissidents. The revolution was marked by brutal civil war and famine, which killed millions more. And finally, the Treaty of Versailles was being drafted, which, while not initially terrible, put Germany in a super bad mood that had some pretty major downstream consequences. But more on that later. Number 9, 1492.
What happened in 1492? I feel like there's a gap. I feel like there's a gap in human knowledge. Like, most humans know a lot of shit that happened between 1800 and, like, today. And then you know a little bit about the 1600s and, like, Jamestown and, you know, fucking witch trial shit, blah, blah, blah. You know, you could even go back to, like, certain, like, poets or people that were alive, like musicians in, like, 1300s. 1492, Columbus. Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. Ooh. That one slipped the brain for a minute there. Yeah.
We all know in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. But by doing
you gotta say the rhyme for me to know. You can't just show me the date.
That, Columbus also opened up a portal to hell for nearly everyone who is currently living in the Americas.
Yo, that motherfucker was a horrible person, bro. They don't teach... Yo, they deadass didn't teach... I feel like now they probably do. I remember when I was a kid, bro, they did not teach about Columbus being a horrible person. They were like, Columbus founded the Americas. That motherfucker lied to the Native Americans and said that the fucking moon was gonna... Or the sun was gonna disappear. Or the moon was gonna disappear. They lied. He was like, hey, the sun's gonna disappear if you don't fucking give us food. And they were like, no, it won't. Because who the fuck would believe that? And he just knew knowledge about astronomy, and he said his god was more powerful than theirs. And then there was a fucking solar eclipse, and the sun disappeared. And then they fucking gave them all their food, and then died.
Every indigenous person that came in contact with the Europeans.
I thought he said the moon would be of blood. I'm pretty sure he just predicted a solar eclipse. Yeah, in 1504, there was a total lunar eclipse. During his fourth voyage, Christopher Columbus induced the inhabitants of Jamaica to continue provisioning him and his hungry men, intimidating them by predicting a total lunar eclipse. Some claim Columbus used the ephemeris of the German astronomer, but Columbus himself attributed the prediction to the Almanac of Abraham Zacuto. He got beached, blah, blah, blah. They needed food. They couldn't give it to him. And then he, like, basically just, like,
settler was
lied
either
to them. He would also, like, you know, do some pretty fucked up shit in general.
Killed by a disease, killed in the slave trade, killed in war, or died of a broken heart. And while it certainly didn't all happen in 1 year, the introduction of European settlers to the Americas ended up killing 90% of the indigenous population.
Even if it was a peaceful interaction, Europeans brought over diseases that the Native Americans hadn't encountered yet. And then they all died. Same thing with, like, a lot of encounters with, like, Amazonian, like, tribes. Like, you just, like, go see them. You could be peaceful, and then they're all just gonna get, like, fucking smallpox and die.
Diseases like smallpox, measles, and influenza decimated communities that had no immunity to these foreign illnesses. I guess one could argue that the events of 1492 had positive effects.
It was not peaceful. I'm saying there was multiple interactions. There were instances of peaceful interactions. Many were not.
On much of humanity.
I'm not with Columbus. I'm talking about, like, people just arriving to the Americas.
Leading to the age of exploration and the eventual globalization of trade and culture that brought us things like pizza and chocolate. However, the near extinction of an entire continent civilization does put it on our list. Number 8, 2008. This is probably the
housing market crash. I feel like we're jumping pretty heavily here. The housing market crash of 2008 was worse than smallpox.
Height of recency bias, but
and Vladimir Lenin.
Who cares? It sucked. 2008 was the year the entire world realized that rich people just basically make up how much money there is. And for a number of reasons too complicated to go into in this video, something called Lehman Brothers went out of business, and then the entire global economy collapsed. Stock markets around the world crashed. The American auto industry nearly went belly up, and the cost of food and gas.
And the bubble of borrowing money or having debt to buy assets is like what's happening right now with the AI bubble. I'm not trying to, like, make people panic, but the shit that happened right before the 2008 housing market crash where people were taking on debt to buy houses and assets is exactly what's happening right now with big businesses. So if it fails, they're fucked.
Went through the roof. It was the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression, causing millions of Americans to lose their jobs and homes. Also, if you've ever wondered, why do houses cost so much these days? Well, in the aftermath of the 2008 mortgage crisis, new home construction basically stopped for about 10 years because nobody could get a loan. And since there wasn't a 10-year hiatus on unprotected sex, we now have way too many people and way too few houses. So thanks again, 2008, for still ruining all of our lives. What? China and Australia's economy actually grew during the Great Recession? What do you mean America isn't the center of the universe? Number 7, 73,000 BC.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little absurd to put the 2008 housing market crisis as one of the worst years in human history. Like, I wouldn't even say that's, like, top 50. Like, you could say 30s was, like, the Great Depression, because that was bad for the world as well.
Okay, so we're a little loosey-goosey on the exact year, but trust me, whenever it was bad. Rewind
73,000 BC. I love how we're jumping around history right now. We got Spanish flu. We have Christopher Columbus, 2008, and now 73,000 BC.
Clock 70 or so millennia, and you'll witness what's known as a super
Pompeii. When was Pompeii? Wait, is this Pompeii?
Volcano eruption.
No, Pompeii was not 73,000 BC. 73,000 BC, there wasn't fucking cities yet. When was Pompeii? That was probably like fucking 3,000 years ago. 79 CE, so 2,000 years ago.
This particular event is known as the Toba Catastrophe and is probably the thing Indonesia is second most famous for after Komodo dragons. This eruption set off a 10-year volcanic winter that nearly eliminated the entire human species. the Toba eruption released so much volcanic ash into the atmosphere that it blocked sunlight, leading to a drastic drop in global temperatures. The few survivors faced harsh conditions, with scarce food and resources, struggling to maintain their communities. The entire human population left on Earth was somewhere between 3,000 and 10,000 people, or roughly the size of Brandon, South Dakota.
And we're all descendants of them. Wow. We're all related to those people. I feel like that's so cool that like every person has a common ancestor, like what, 60 people ago or something. Like there's somebody that so we're all related in some way. Yeah. But not in a sense of like incest. But then I'm pretty sure this era is when they were making like was it whale bones? No, I think it might have been like, what's that motherfucker from Ice Age? A mammoth. Mammoth bone huts. Yeah, people used to live in this. Stuff that looked like this. Ukraine. Mammoth bone structure homes. This is like when it was like really fucking cold out. They would make shit like this out of just straight animal remains because it was so insulative. And they would put like hides and other stuff on the outside because it was just cold as fuck.
You've never heard of Brandon, South Dakota? Okay, Madison Square Garden can hold around 20,000 people, so the entire population left on Earth after that eruption could fit in MSG twice. This phenomenon is known as a genetic bottleneck, and is also why we're all kind of related. Number 6, 1929. The Roaring Twenties came to an abrupt end in 1929 when the U.S. stock market crashed, setting off, stop me if you've heard this before, a global economic collapse. The Great Depression that followed was a decade-long economic...
Oh no! Oh no! American steel is down! Is down! Let me go withdraw all my money from the bank. And then they had no money.
...disaster that affected almost every country in the world.
Yeah, imagine pulling up to a bank going, I want to withdraw my money. And they go, we don't have it. Huh? Huh?
Mental health was...
We don't have it. Huh?
...at an all-time low immediately following the market crash. Self-deletion rates were so high that some hotel operators in New York City would ask guests if they needed a room for sleeping or jumping out of. That's real. In the U.S., 1 in 4 people became unemployed, and wages for the remaining workforce were basically cut in half. Bread lines and soup kitchens became a common sight, and many people lost their homes and savings. One farmer of the day knew he couldn't afford to feed his sheep, so he slit their throats and threw them down a canyon instead of letting them starve. It's like,
wow.
What? They don't like sheep? The events of 1929 set off a decade of economic hardship that culminated in Earth's favorite pastime, World War. Number 5, 1601. If you take one thing away from this video...
Is that the witch trials? When were the witch trials? I was just in Salem. No, that was 1692.
It should be that volcanoes are bad. So bad, in fact, that one volcano in Peru basically turned the lights off for the whole planet. The eruption of Huayna Patina in 1600 was one of the largest volcanic events in recorded history, spewing vast amounts of ash into the...
Bro, I want to see the volcano eruption that's that big that it blacks out the sun from the whole world. One volcano erupting that much.
Atmosphere. The summer of 1601 was known as the summer with no sunshine. Sunlight levels dramatically decreased everywhere in the world, causing mass famine, but nowhere more so than Russia. The lack of sunlight led to crop failures and livestock death. A third of the Russian population starving to death in the 2 years following the eruption. No sunshine also meant it was extremely cold, so to keep warm, many in the region turned to killing any animal with fur they could find, not just for food, but also to create clothing and blankets. Accounts from the time describe people so desperate for food that they ate grass, their pets, and each other. Which means all of us are just one cloudy summer away from cannibalism.
I'm not eating my dog. That's the one thing I'm saying right now. I would not eat my dog. If I was starving, bro.
Number 4, 1940.
I will. You'll eat my dog or you're going to eat your dog. Javi, I'm telling you right now, you ain't eating my dog. I'm eating you before I'm eating my dog.
42. Not much to see here, just worldwide violence and genocide resulting in millions of deaths. At the tail end of 1941, Japan made a monumental strategic error and, not so elegantly, insisted that the U.S. become heavily involved in World War
Wait, which one is this? Oh, 1942.
II. This essentially turned America into a death factory, where every able-bodied human was either making stuff that killed people or just killing people.
And this is when we really became a war-based economy. Ugh.
The war effort mobilized entire populations, leading to the development of new weapons and technologies, including the Manhattan Project, which would cause all kinds of problems for future humans. Meanwhile, soldiers and civilians in Russia...
And it was a like, the Manhattan Project was terrible, but, like, even if the Manhattan Project didn't happen, nuclear bombs would still exist, right? It was just who's the motherfucker to make it first. Like, nuclear bombs exist whether or not Oppenheimer makes it. Right. Like the Russians would have made the bomb. At some point, China would have made a bomb. Japan would have made a bomb. Somebody would have made a bomb.
Russia and China were dying by the thousands every day. The brutal fighting on the Eastern Front and the Pacific Theater claimed millions of lives. Nazi...
Dude, I used to think that, I mean, it's kind of incomparable because it depends on the battle, but I used to think World War II, like battling in World War II would be like objectively worse than like trench warfare in World War I. But trench warfare is fucking so scary, bro. I had somebody describe to me what trench warfare was like truly like, and being alive in that time, dude, evil. Because there was almost no rules. So it was do whatever the fuck you want. There would be gas that would come over and you would just suffocate from that. But more so, like, if you're in the trench, there's bombs going off constantly. Doom, 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 doom. You're getting shell shock. That's why they called it shell shock. It was PTSD. But it was called shell shock because there was constantly bombs going off. Humans are only made to endure high-stress scenarios for short spans of time. Because in a 5-minute span, like say there's a lion or something that's approaching you, you're genetically made to deal with that stress in that 5-minute span, and either you're alive or dead, and then you move on. But in World War I, during trench warfare, that was just all the time. There was nonstop bombs. So you were always in that high-stress scenario. And if you were still alive, you were just waiting to die. And when the bomb stopped, you would go, oh, we're good now. When the bomb stopped, that meant the other people were running at you. So if you're awake for 18 hours, you're getting an hour of sleep, then you're awake for 18 hours. You're getting an hour of sleep, you're awake for 18 hours. And you hear silence, that means you have to run to your guns because the other guys are running to you to jump into your trench and kill you. And they're gassing you out. They're doing all this other shit. There would be guys, they would draft, say they had to get a letter from one trench to another or another part of the trench. They would give 4 guys the same letter and go, run. Because they knew that 2 of you at least weren't making it. So then if you were the one that made it and you didn't die, they'd give you another letter and they'd go, now run it back. And then you had to fucking try and run that shit back. And fuck that. Then it got to a point where they knew that the other guys were running over, so they would dig other trenches prematurely. And so when they heard the silence, they would run to the back trench before that one got flooded and then gun those motherfuckers down.
Germany continued its war crimes and genocide, so not great. Number 3, 1943.
It was also really bad in 1942, 1943, World War II in general. Like, one of the biggest things you'll hear people talking about is like, fighting the Japanese was really scary for Americans because even if they had the edge, the Japanese people wouldn't surrender. So if they ran out of ammo or knew they were going to die, they would just fucking run at your ass with a knife or a bayonet. Like, they would not give up. Like, they would just run at you. Vietnam was scarier too. Well, Vietnam, yeah, Vietnam also, I'm not sitting here saying like Americans were the victims. Americans did horrible things too during a large majority of these wars as well. Like Vietnam, especially, Americans would mow down like innocent Vietnamese people. But in Vietnam, yeah, dude, there would just be traps. It was all just like jungle warfare.
Remember 1942? Like that. But again, 1943 saw some of the deadliest battles of World War II. The Battle of Stalingrad.
Yeah, dude, Vietnam especially, what was that one thing they would say? Vietnam message to U.S. speakers. Like, it's like, you're gonna die, GI, or something, is what it would repeatedly say.
During the Vietnam War,
all right, that's not what I want to hear.
Operation involves exploit the
It is a very good idea.
Imagine being in the jungle, bro. You're freshly 19, right out of high school, bro. They send your ass all the way across the world, and you're literally watching your fucking friends explode. And you hear this in the jungles.
Defect GI. It is a very good idea to leave a sinking ship.
And you're covered in dirt, half your friends are dead.
They lie to you, GI. You know you cannot win this war.
And you're there for no reason, too. Like, World War II, like, you're fighting Adolf Hitler, right? World War II, I don't support war in any way, but, like, Americans in World War II wanted to go to war. People would lie about their age to get into the army. Vietnam was the reverse lottery, bro. They pulled your name. That was a death sentence. Like, being in Vietnam had to have been one of the scariest fucking things ever. Like, having to fight on either side. Like, and dude, you're not even fighting you're fighting against communism. Like, you're not even fighting for, like, oh, the betterment of, like, people being, like, the Jewish people or something. Like, you're literally just going into Vietnam because your government's sending you. You would come back, and there were instances where, like, the soldiers were treated like shit, man. They didn't even like, it wasn't like they praised you when they came back, like World War II. It was so different.
Your rich leaders grow richer while you die in the swamp, GI. They will give you a medal, GI, but only after you are dead.
Like, bro.
Your government lies to you every day, poor soldier.
Like, dude, it's middle of the night and you're hearing that shit. Reverse. The U.S. would play U.S. sounds for Vietnamese people. The Vietnam, what was the tapes the U.S. would play on those big ass speakers to the Vietnamese guys in the tunnels? Yeah, they would spray shit with Agent Orange, and Agent Orange got people killed. There's a whole video on, like, pesticides and how Agent Orange, like, ruined people. Wandering Souls. Yep, there it is. The U.S. would play this for the people underground. Make you lose your mind so you'd run out of the tunnel and then they'd fucking shoot you in the face.
One of the bloodiest battles.
People don't realize how... No, I'm serious. Like, you hear about, like, you learn about war, bro, at such, like, a basic level in high school. Like, that shit, bro, like, no, like, people go, oh, war's bad, you're killing people. It's beyond that, dude. It was psychological torture to have to fucking fight in any of these wars.
Battles in history ended in early 1943 with the defeat of the German army. This marked a turning point in the war, but came at a staggering cost of over 2 million casualties.
I always think, dude, being in D-Day, man, that had to be so fucking scary. Being a guy that was getting shipped on D-Day, World War II, you're on a boat, just running on Normandy Beach, watching hundreds of people get mowed down. Explain D-Day? Bro, how do you not, like, see, why do I have to explain? How do you not know? D-Day was when the U.S. were storming the Germans on Normandy Beach. And the Germans had these concrete structures that were hooked with, like, fucking, like, like big automatic machine guns. And they had all these spikes on the beaches, so you couldn't really drive up on them. You just had to drop the boat a little, like, far back, and they would jump off the boat into the water. D-Day boats. So they would be in these boats packed like sardines, and they would drive up to the beach. This hatch would open. They would all run out. All of them would die. Not just the U.S. I'm saying from the U.S.'s perspective. I know there was other countries involved. I'm saying U.S., Germany. Germany was the people that were defending. It's like Saving Private Ryan, yeah. And you would go Canada, France, Australia. Yeah, it was the Allies. It was the Allies versus the Axis powers, but I'm pretty sure the only people on the Axis powers were Germans. Was there Italians in D-Day? I don't know if they were on the lines in D-Day or on the defending side. No, I think it was just Germans up there. I don't know. I'm not a genius on D-Day. Anyway, somebody said this is boring. Fuck out of stream, bro. Who gives a fuck? Imagine, bro, the first waves of these boats of, like, you know, all the Allied powers, literally all of them died. All of them died. Like, instantly. And the U.S. and the Allies' strategy was, we're just going to keep sending people. At some point, it was just numbers. It was a numbers game. We have more people than they can kill. And then eventually they got through.
In the Pacific, the Battle of Guadalcanal and the continued island hopping campaign resulted in massive losses on both sides. And Nazi Germany continued doing Nazi Germany things. So again, a horrible time. Number 2, 1347. Welcome to medieval times. You really can't say anything about the mid-1300s that doesn't involve the bubonic plague. In 1347, the Black Death began ravishing most of Eurasia and parts of North Africa.
You hear about the Black Death too. You just start getting black bubbles, growths on your body.
Within a few years, the plague killed roughly a third of Europe, which probably put a pretty big dent into the cappuccino and scarf industries. The plague was caused by a bacterium in the fleas of rats, and rats were basically the podcasts of the 1300s. Completely unwanted, but absolutely everyone had them. Death from the bubonic plague was swift, but painful. An infected person would develop horribly swollen lymph nodes, often accompanied by fever and diarrhea, and would usually be dead in under a week. Medicine of the time was primitive, to say the least. A popular cure for the plague included taking a healthy chicken, plucking its back and bottom clean, and then strapping it to the patient's open sores. The idea was if the chicken became ill, it was helping to pull out the disease from the patient.
Oh, bro, what? So they would try and move the illness from you to another creature?
Okay, let's check your chicken today. Oh, awesome! It's almost dead! You're doing great! This would be repeated until the patient or the chicken died. Often both in many cases. Chickens weren't the only...
What was the odds of living? If you had the Black Plague, what were your survival chances? Probably like 10%. No, I feel like it had to be higher than 0, chat. Come on. Survival chances were extremely low, up to an 80% mortality rate. So there were instances where people would survive. Survival depended heavily on the type of plague. Bubonic had an 18% survival rate, septicemic had a nearly 0, and pneumonic had a 0. The bubonic plague was the most common. You had about a 1 in 5 of living.
Only animal rubbed on boils. Plague doctors also tried rubbing cut-up pieces of snakes on them as well.
Awesome.
See, snakes were considered evil, and so was the plague. So the idea was that if evil things liked other evil things, putting the snake on a boil would trick the plague into following the snake and leave the patient's body.
Wow, so people were really fucking stupid at this time. That's absurd. Wow, that was like the best idea they had. Like, I would rather them go, let's pee on it. Like, I would rather them be like, yeah, you got a wound there. I'm going to pee on it. Then I'm going to rub an alive chicken's butthole on your fucking wounds. So it sucks the fucking... the fucking sickness out.
Another cutting-edge cure for the Black Death was eating crushed emeralds. People who couldn't afford emeralds would drink arsenic or mercury instead, which probably was just a little less effective than the chicken and the snake. All the anguish from this pandemic began to pull society apart at the seams. Many people took the chaos of the situation as an opportunity to steal from the sick and weak. Needless to say, people were so...
From the sick and weak, bro. If you were one of the guys that lived, you were just straight rolling in it, bro. You just steal everybody's shit. Half the households ain't got anybody in them anymore. They're dead.
So scared to help one another, many were left to die alone in misery. It took centuries for Europe and other parts of the world to recover from the mass destruction of the Black Death. Number 1,
Yeah, I could easily see, dude. If you're in the UK, over half of London dies. Like, you're going to need 30, 40 years to just rebuild society.
36. This is essentially a greatest hits of all the worst moments from human history. Things kick off with our old friend the supervolcano, which sent a cloud of volcanic ash over the entire northern hemisphere. This left most of the world in virtual darkness for 18 months, brought the global temperature down 30 degrees, and caused, say it with me, widespread famine. Things were extra bad in China, where dust rained to the ground by the handful, and 70 to 80% of the population died. The lack of sunlight led to crop failures, starvation, and social unrest. But wait, there's more! On top of extreme...
Yeah, that's pretty scary, dude, living in, like, perma-darkness.
Food scarcity, a plague broke out in Europe. People would break out in pus-filled boils before perishing by the thousands, making disposal of the bodies impossible. Bodies were heaped in piles or thrown into the sea, only to wash back up days later. And the southern hemisphere wasn't spared. To make things worse, 536 had a powerful El Nino that warmed the waters off the South American coast, killing fish stocks, flooding the coasts, and you guessed it, causing widespread famine. So yeah, 536...
Oh my god, dude. People were literally just, like, constantly on the... I feel like societies pre, like, 1600s were just constantly on the brink of death, like, every 50 years. Like, oh my god.
divided into 2 leagues, and some even shared the same name. But the 2 leagues didn't always see eye to eye.
What's the hardest baseball name? Hold up. Or baseball team? Being on the Hawks would be pretty fucking sick. Colt 45s, Angels, White Sox, Braves, Tigers, Dodgers, Giants.
2 leagues didn't always
Is Colt 45
seed in the U.S. if they could ever get there. Then in 1990,
still a team?
some even
The Dragons? Yeah, that would be the sickest.
shared the same name.
The Dragons.
But the 2 leagues didn't always see. 95 pitcher Hideo Nomo found a loophole. The Kintetsu eye to eye. In the mid-20th century, American teams often looked down on Japanese talent. And while some American players played in Japan, Buffaloes owned his contract. But Nomo simply retired at age 26. Legally, they typically were near retirement. Meanwhile, Japanese players were often pressured to stay in Japan.
Part of it was
A retired player could go anywhere, so Nomo went to the LA Dodgers.
wanting to like maintain Japanese culture and pride.
Jun Lee's been reporting on baseball for a decade. He was on ESPN. Now he runs one of...
That doesn't really seem like much of a loophole, no? All right, I'm done playing baseball. I'm going to go move to the U.S. All right, I don't really want to play baseball anymore. I'm going to go move to the U.S. Actually,
my favorite YouTube channels.
It is swung on and foul tipped by Lee.
This was kind of where Japan was.
I truly believe facing a baseball is one of the scariest things. I could not play... I would not be good enough to play professional baseball, but even if I was, I would be so scared to stand next to the plate while the pitcher on the mound's throwing fucking piss missiles. Just fucking Actually, I kind of do. I got a second wind. I think I want to start playing baseball again.
His twisting windup flummoxed American batters.
Right at me. Like, you get hit in the face, dude, you just fucking break your jaw.
Like, politically, over the course of, like, a lot of the 20th century, which was culture that was very inward-focused.
It all came to a head over this guy, pitcher Masanori Murakami. In 1964, the Nankai Hawks sent him to the San Francisco Giants minor league team, just for some experience. But Murakami impressed the Giants, who started him on their major league squad. Murakami became Major League Baseball's first Japanese-born player and dominated the rest of the season. But when the Giants gave him a contract, the Hawks objected. The 2 leagues argued for months until reaching a compromise. Murakami would play with the Giants for 1 season, then return to Japan. And from then on, MLB teams were prohibited from directly signing Japanese players, and vice versa.
Really? When did that fucking change?
It widened the gulf between the 2 leagues. American players continued to go to Japan, but no Japanese player appeared in Major League Baseball for the next 30 years. They stayed in Japan and developed a distinct style of playing. Very quickly, I want to show you something.
Do you think that's why, like, Shohei Ohtani and other players are really good, is because they get different training and play different than American players? So when they go against them, it's like a whole different spin of play or pitching or...
Pretty cool. Machinists at Henson
how they work.
Started out making aerospace machinery.
What the fuck am I looking at? Oh, is this a sponsor?
Your wallet too. Henson's line stays flat because when you over time, and turns out better for your wallet too. This chart shows the cost of razor ownership when you
differently than American people, and so they
my
have
monitor
adapted
just
the
turned off.
Japanese game
My monitor
to...
just turned off.
And he went on to win Rookie of the Year and start the All-Star game.
Waved at. It just randomly just tried to refresh. What the fuck?
Kind of suit the physical strengths and weaknesses that
And down goes Martinez. And down goes
that Japanese people have, and as a result, stylistically the game is very different than what you would see in the United States.
Great American batters have power. They swing for the fences. While great Japanese batters have consistency. They hit more singles, doubles, even bunts to get on base. Great American
playing the long game versus fucking ripping it. Just trying. That's all I would do if I played baseball. Getting a single sucks. I'd want to hit that shit out of the fucking park.
Pitchers rely on velocity, throwing 100-mile-per-hour fastballs past batters. While Japanese pitchers rely more on craftiness, throwing forkballs, splitters, and sinkers to fool batters. In Japan, baseball players are also known to train far more often and with
who would have figured Hideo Nomo last year pitching
far more intensity.
This is just kind of the culture around the sport.
In Japan,
Nomo also got more Japanese fans.
Yo, that's actually
that the repetition builds strength. It requires this intense.
Actually, so much aura too to fucking move countries to go play in another team's fucking league.
Level of discipline.
Still, many Americans doubted Japanese players would succeed in the U.S. if they could ever get there. Then in 1990,
and then just maul them. Like, I always wonder how, like, Jokic feels.
1995, pitcher Hideo Nomo found a loophole. The Kintetsu Buffaloes owned his contract, but Nomo simply retired at age 26. Legally, a retired player could go anywhere, so Nomo went to the LA Dodgers.
That doesn't really seem like much of a loophole, no? All right, I'm done playing baseball. I'm gonna go move to the U.S. All right, I don't really want to play baseball anymore. I'm gonna go move to the U.S. Actually, I kind of do. I got a second wind. I think I want to start playing baseball again.
His twisting windup flummoxed American batters, and he went on to win Rookie of the Year and start the All-Star game.
Waved at and missed. And down goes Martinez. And down goes Bell. And who would have figured Hideo Nomo, last year pitching in Japan.
Nomo also got more Japanese fans.
Yo, that's actually so much aura, too, to fucking move countries to go play in another team's fucking leagues. Or, like, any foreign NBA player that just dominates in the U.S. just coming over and just fucking literally just dumpstering everybody and then just maul them. Like, I always wonder how, like, Jokic feels. Or, like, any foreign NBA player that just dominates in the U.S.
to start paying attention to American baseball. But his loophole made NPB owners worried their best players would leave.
That's just coming over and just fucking literally just dumpstering everybody.
So in 1998, it made a new system where a Japanese team could do what's called posting a play to start paying attention to American baseball. But his loophole made NPB owners worried their best players would leave to allow MLB teams to bid on him. Then the Japanese team could send him in exchange for a fee. So in 1998, it made a new system where a Japanese team could do what's called posting a player to allow MLB teams to bid on him. Then the Japanese team could send him in exchange for a fee. Finally, a pipeline existed between the two best baseball leagues. And over the next 20 years, a steady stream of talented pitchers and hitters developed in Japan.
I don't understand though why they can't just go pro in the MLB straight out of like high school or college. I know a lot of MLB players in the US sign right out of high school, but it's like, why even go into the Japanese Pro League? Like, why go to the NPB if you could just go straight to the MLB?
Then went to the US, where they won awards and World Series, broke records, and made the Hall of Fame, all along proving that the Japanese style could thrive in the US.
Ichiro is kind of the ultimate manifestation of this, where he hit often less than 10 home runs a year, but he would get 300 hits in a season. I think they completely changed the perception of what was possible if we brought over Japanese players to the United States.
But Shohei Ohtani was different. He threw nearly 100 miles an hour, smashed home runs, and he was only in high school.
Yo! Nah. Like, how are there people that are just that good? Like, he's throwing 100 miles an hour in high school, and he's pitching and batting. People, like, when I talk to my friends that love baseball, they always just glaze the shit out of him. They're like, he's two players in one. So it doesn't matter that they're paying him fucking $800 million delayed. It's worth it because they're effectively getting two of the best players in both of the biggest positions.
Heard of Shohei Ohtani when he was 16 years old because I'm a baseball sicko and I was following what was happening in the Japanese baseball tournament Koshien.
The century-old tournament is watched by millions in Japan, and in 2012, everyone was watching Ohtani, including major league teams.
He was kind of unlike any player that...
Bro, imagine having an MLB team. Do you think, like... Who's somebody in the NFL, NBA, or MLB right now that was, like, getting looked at when they were a senior in high school? Like, the first guy that comes to my mind, oh, my God, what is his fucking name? I don't watch the NBA. Oh, my God, what is his name, bro? He dunks like crazy. Not LeBron. Bronny also got looked at because it was like, you know, you're LeBron James' kid. Who's the guy? Zion Williamson, I feel like, is the equivalent. I remember when he was in high school, because I was in high school. I was like a freshman when he was like a senior. And he was like the fucking news. everybody was like, this kid's gone pro. Like, in a high school game, he would just fucking hit a spin dunk on people like it was nothing.
They had to ever come out of Japan.
Fucking windmill that shit. Literally in a finals game, these just fucking, 80 to fucking 10.
And
The Yankees, Red Sox, Rangers, and Dodgers wanted Ohtani to skip the NPB entirely and sign directly with them as a pitcher. Ohtani wanted that too. In 2012, he warned NPB teams not to draft him, but the Nippon Ham Fighters did anyway. It put Ohtani in a unique position. He could refuse to play for the Fighters, or use his leverage to pressure them into letting him do something no American team ever would. Two-way players are a thing of the past. That's someone who's both a pitcher and a position player, like Babe Ruth. But since the 1940s, no one in the major leagues really pulled it off, and today, no one's really allowed to try.
being a pitcher and a batter is like playing two completely different sports. They require two completely different skill sets, two completely different approaches, and that wear and tear really, really adds up. A major league team, if they had gotten Ohtani at 18 years old, would have just forced him to become a pitcher.
But the Fighters were more willing to let him try both. So Ohtani made the
Wow, so if he got signed when he was younger, he never would have been able to bat?
Decision to stay in Japan.
If Ohtani had grown up in Arkansas, he doesn't become the player that he is. He was this massive power hitter. There's a video of him hitting a baseball into the roof of the Tokyo Dome. And the fact that he was also doing it while being one of the...
Does that count as a fucking... Does that count as, like, out of play or something? If you hit the fucking ceiling in a stadium? So it's still in play. It falls down, they could catch it and it's out.
Best pitchers in NPB was kind of blowing everyone's mind.
But after 5 years in Japan, Ohtani still faced doubts in the U.S. So in 2017, when the Fighters posted him, Ohtani turned down bids from big market teams and instead went to the LA Angels, where he again used his leverage to be a two-way player. In his first at-bat in LA, Ohtani did this.
That's out toward right center field.
Dude, first at bat, another team, nuke it. Bang! Just fucking rips it out. Stop. You know, right there and then, too, the dude that was, like, responsible for getting him signed was just like, yes. Yes.
Big fly.
Just fucking so happy.
In 2021, he hit 46 home runs and went 9-2 on the mound, becoming the first player to be an all-star as a hitter and a pitcher. Ohtani was fast.
Oh my God, how much do you think that ball's worth? I feel like that's got to be on the market. Oh my God, Shohei Ohtani's first home run ball price. It's worth at least $100,000. Oh, Shohei Ohtani's first run ball as a Dodger is worth $100,000. It could be worth up to $3 million. First run ball price as Angel just says over $100K. Dude, I feel like there's somebody that would pay like $1 million for that.
Becoming the most exciting player baseball had seen in decades. And by 2024, he didn't need leverage anymore. The LA Dodgers signed him for $700 million, nearly double the next highest contract, because he really was two players in one. Actually, he was the two best players in one. Wins above replacement measures a player's total value, and in the last 5 years, Ohtani has the highest in the majors. And just last week, Ohtani played probably the greatest game in baseball history. He struck out 10 batters and gave up only 2 hits over 6 innings. And
I'm not a baseball expert, but in the beginning, somebody was like recency bias. And I will say, yeah, like recency bias is true of a lot of things. But like people will still be like, well, Babe Ruth. I'm like, well, Babe Ruth was like a 50-year-old fucking chronic cigarette smoker that played in like what, the fucking 1920s or some shit. Expert. When did Babe Ruth play? Like, it's the same premise. Dude, yeah, he was born in 1895. Like, it's the idea of, like, yeah, you're comparing apples to oranges of, like, dude, the game's entirely different now. Ohtani is undeniably the best player of all time. That's what I would even say in, like, basketball, people still argue about that. About, like, MJ. And I feel like that's an easier argument to have where you're, like, trying to compare, like, MJ to LeBron or something. But some people, where it's like, dude, there's so many, I don't want to say unks, but there's people that like hardcore defend like old like MVP players. But I'm like, dude, they were also good in a time where everybody else was ass or much worse.
And hit not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs to send the Dodgers to the World Series. Ohtani's a new kind of baseball player. mixing
Barry Bonds. Wasn't Barry Bonds also on a drastic amount of steroids?
American style.
Or am I wrong? I'm not a baseball expert. Wasn't Barry Bonds like fucking juiced to the gills? Like at that point, you could be like, yeah, okay, Barry Bonds, let's put Shohei Ohtani on steroids, and he would be fucking insane. Like he would be even more. He'd be even more good, even crazier.
Power and Japanese style consistency on both sides of the ball. But he only got the chance to do it because he started playing baseball in Japan.
Shohei Ohtani is America's
So do you think that Shohei Ohtani is going to change how the MLB recruits and places players, even not in Japan? Like, do you think the training regimen that like high school and college football team, or not football, baseball teams are going to do is like they're more open to two-way players?
Packed, reimagined, and repackaged back to itself.
Yeah, they're going to want the next two-way player because that carries the teams.
Now Ohtani's bringing the two best baseball leagues closer together than ever.
Impossible.
Imagine getting force walked 10 times the World Series because other teams know you'll beat them single-handedly. Yeah, no, didn't they just they would just keep purposefully walking him? Like, I didn't watch any of the World Series, but I did hear that he was able to pitch, but they wanted to cut out his capability of play. So they would just walk him, give him a base, which is much better than them potentially giving up a home run.
Theater. And in a one-run game, the dream matchup.
Now, why was this moment so important? It's because it was the first moment.
I understand that's like a needed part of the game and it is a strategy, but isn't that a little lame, like that you're able to just walk players? I mean, in the same sense, it's like kneeling the ball in football. If like you're up and there's, a minute left on the clock, you could just run the timer down. Like, I feel like every sport has some lame ass, loophole where you could just fucking nerf people.
That Japanese baseball and American baseball shared a superstar.
You're giving them a base? Yeah, but you're giving them a base because you know that if you don't, they're going to fuck on you. like, if you don't give them the base, they're just going to maul you.
In the US, it was the most watched WBC game ever. But in Japan, 42% of households tuned in. Even though
42%? Oh my God, dude. That's the equivalent of like the Super Bowl for the US. What percentage of households watch the Super Bowl? 41 to 43%. It's bigger. In Japan, this was larger than the Super Bowl or just about the same.
It was 8 in the morning there. In 2025, MLB saw higher viewership across US TV and a 20% increase on Japanese TV, making it the most watched season ever there. Ohtani's also getting more Japanese fans to come to Major League games.
Which is making American companies more money, so they're going to fucking start signing people like crazy.
I asked June to come on this episode, he texted back from Dodger Stadium, where he saw scores of Ohtani fans, Ohtani jerseys in English and Japanese beer, and a giant homage to Ohtani on a Japanese-themed hotel. This is just the beginning for MLB.
I had a conversation.
Oh my God, do you think Shohei Ohtani's on like everything in Japan? I would love to see that. Like the equivalent of how we have like Patrick Mahomes and other like quarterbacks just on so many adverts. Oh, he's got to be on like every product there. He's got to be the most known athlete in Japan.
An executive over Major League Baseball, and they said that Shohei Ohtani was their entire international growth strategy. They view Shohei Ohtani as their Messi and Ronaldo figure, the type of person who almost becomes bigger than the sport to get people in the door, to care and invest emotionally in it.
Ohtani may even give MLB an edge over its competitors. U.S. sports leagues are racing to become global leagues. The NFL is playing games in Europe and South America. The NBA is in Asia.
I think the NFL has, just as from my biased perspective, I think the NFL has a lot of weird rules that make it harder to get into. But the premise, NFL is the toughest road, but I think it has the highest potential. Because people like watching other people tackle the fuck out of each other. It's like, the NFL, dude, even if you don't know, if you know none of the sports, you just love watching. Like, watching football is fun.
Sure.
You got rugby, though? Yeah, but, like, rugby as a competitor. I feel like the NBA is the most global, if I had to guess, out of the three big sports.
Hosting a league in Africa and talking about creating a league in Europe. They're competing to win over new fans in other countries. But nothing wins over fans in another country like a superstar from that country.
The lesson from Otani is that sometimes...
I think that's why the NBA is big too. That's the problem with the NFL. If the NFL starts signing fucking random ass European and fucking Asian and African players to the league, dude, oh my God, I feel like that'll start. Like if you just had like some guy from fucking Germany as like an O lineman, I feel like people would be like, I need to watch this. Like if he's like the best, but they would have to be really good.
That means letting a player do something different.
Because Otani is an Otani if he's not a two-way player. And he's not a two-way player if he doesn't play first in Japan. And he doesn't play first in Japan if not for generations of players who perfected baseball the Japanese way.
America invented baseball, but it has been elevated by someone who is not from the United States. He breaks all of the unwritten rules of what people thought was possible for someone to accomplish as a baseball player.
Wow.
Okay, thanks so much for watching.
I loved that video, and I'm not even that big of a fan of baseball, but I love keeping track of like the news in sports, cinema. Noticing it. I don't know how fast of a swim that is. Do you have to do freestyle too? I would do. What's the one where you go like this? Okay, it's kind of hard to do not in the water. The fucking, like what the back? It's not backstroke. It's like a back frog. No, it's not, dude. No, what is that? No, backstroke's like this. I'm not talking about that. No, not butterfly. Butterfly's forward. Like the reverse butterfly. That's how I'd be swimming in the water. Oh, you really want to be like heavy muscle for this. I feel like that's the cheat code. It's a little unfair if you have more body fat because then you don't sink as quick. Like if you have no body fat and you're heavy, like the guy, like dude, the fucking Austin Alexander, the guy that made this video. Got a sub, by the way. WVid. The guy that made this vid, he's probably looks like he's like 220. I feel like he's going to sink. And then he just rips all the way up. It go, and then just sink back down.
It's not natural.
Oh, you think exhale on the way down?
Feeling to be tied up.
That's a little scary, though.
Yep.
That was a fun video to watch, bro. That was a B-Town LOL. Last event was actually pretty fun. Helped me get 2 million subscribers. Oh, everybody go sub to Alex. Or Austin Alexander. Never seen that before. Kudos to Zane for taking this on event with a craps night's sleep. I think he was hungover. I don't think it was the sleep that did him in. I think he was probably a little nauseous before they started. What the back? It's not backstroke. It's like a back frog. No, it's not, dude. No, what is that? No, backstroke's like this. I'm not talking about that. No, not butterfly. Butterfly's forward. Like the reverse butterfly. That's how I'd be swimming in the water. Like I don't know how fast of a swim that is. Do you have to do freestyle too? I would do. What's the one where you go like this? Okay, it's kind of hard to do not in the water. The fucking. Like what the back? It's not backstroke. It's like a back frog. No, it's not, dude. No, what is that? No, backstroke's like this. I'm not talking about that. No, not butterfly. Butterfly's forward. Like the reverse butterfly. That's how I'd be swimming in the water.